Racing isn't just a game. It's a way of life. Every lap, every moment. Practice is about consistency. Winning doesn't come easy.
Yo!
My turn, Bubba.
Feel the road. Own the race. Logitech G wheels and pedals available now on Amazon.
Tonight on Countdown to Green, we revisit Texas, where Zach Novak punched his ticket to the championship board. NASCAR Xfinity star Anthony Alfredo drops by. And we take a look at how you're racing at home. All of that and more coming up on Countdown to Green.
Hello and welcome to the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. This is Countdown to Green, and we are getting ready for the race before the final race. Yes, Phoenix Raceway. We are excited to see how the drivers will do tonight. I'm your host, Camille Salazar-Hadaway. Joining me, as always, we have Ryan Vargas, we have Alan Cavanna. How you two feeling? You know, we're getting to the wire. Drivers are going to have to make a lot of good decisions on the track.
Yeah, and speaking of good decisions, we saw it from Zach Novak last race out in Texas. I'm anticipating a lot more gutsy calls. If you're some of those guys at the tail end of this round one group, it's going to get intense out there, Alan.
It has to. This is it. This is the race that determines the four that will compete for the $100,000. 2 spots are open tonight. There could be a new winner, 1 on points, maybe 2 on points. We'll have to figure it out. But 2 spots are open for the $100,000 and a title at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It all gets settled out in the desert, out in Phoenix. I love this racetrack for this purpose.
Plus, it's also about relegation. It's for those drivers that want to make sure they're in the series next year. But, you know, Ryan, you called it. Texas was definitely something to pay attention to because we had a winner that we did not expect.
Yeah, but we not only do we have a winner that we did not expect, but we had a lot of craziness and chaos that we did not expect. You see it right here. Lots of 3-wide race and a lot of shuffling all throughout the field. Texas has proven to be a tricky racetrack, both in real life and on the sim, and you see it right here. Briar LaPrade gets loose, 4 wide down the front stretch. Graham Boland, incredible save, and then Michael Cozy Jr., Donovan Strauss. I mean, everybody just pile in, and Alan, it was so hard to keep up with all the craziness going on.
Absolutely. What's so impressive is that 2 car there started 31st, Zach Novak. And we don't always pay attention to what's going on in back because it doesn't affect what's happening at the winner's circle. This race, it did. Novak with an amazing run toward the front as he's leading, tracking down those leaders, the Steven Wilsons of the world. All the drivers you expect that we've seen, and then it ends up in a surprise, Ryan. 3 wide here, going past some of the best. It's Zach Novak out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Zach Novak pulls off the gutsy strategy call, gets that track position late, and if you're Tucker Minter, you're watching your playoff hopes continue to dwindle away. Zach Novak gets an emotional win that I think everybody had a lot of excitement seeing, and you see right here, here's our playoff grid. Steven Wilson, Zach Novak locked in via a win. Now, the remaining 2, it's wide open here because you have Parker White and Casey Kerwin only 14 and 11 points ahead, but then you have Tucker Minter, Bobby Z, Vicente Salas, Dylan Duval, Colin Keister, Jordy Lopez. All those guys are hot on their heels and want to get their spot going to Homestead.
Yeah, everything on the right, you can see 2 spots still open. The team standings still wide open. I know Spire has, they have a little bit of a lead there with 28, but you could make up about 70 points in one race. We got 2 more races to go. Channel 199 Sim Racing still in it. Atlassian Williams Sim Racing still in it. ERA, who knows what Bobby Z can pull off, but there's still points, money, and a trophy on the line for the team standings. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, and not only are our team standings and a championship on the line, but so is relegation. And this is one of the races within the race that we're looking at right now. And one thing I want to note, if you are in this top 20 mark here, you are locked locked in for next season. If you're below it, you have to go back through the Contender Series. And you see right there, Michael Cozy Jr., the last car in that 20th spot, he has to start at the tail tonight. He has lost his ability to qualify due to his incident points gathered throughout the season. So the last guy in is already starting on the back foot.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what this series does. Every position will matter tonight, Camille, because of that relegation. It's not just the playoff guys. Everybody has something on the line.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, seeing that relegation and seeing who's at the bottom there of that cut line and pulling very close to stay in this series, it makes things very interesting. But we got to talk about Texas and what you're thinking coming out of that race, Alan.
It was just unbelievable to see what Zach Novak did. Honestly, it was the drive of the year, the entire series. I know Steven Wilson's getting the wins, but for Novak to do what he did, starting beyond 30th place, we don't see drives like this where they come up to be the winner. And it wasn't like he went to the front. He had to work his way through, and there were points in this race not far from the finish where he wasn't even sniffing a top 10, yet he was able to get it done. This is a former winner, a veteran we expect things out of, but guys, he hadn't won since 2019. That's got to weigh on an experienced veteran driver. He gets the win, and not only a win, a quarter shot at $100,000 and a title. Drive of the year, Ryan.
Absolutely, and this kind of piggybacks into my thought leaving Texas is the crazy moves, the crazy strategy that Novak pulled to get this win. That leaves this championship wide open. A lot of people probably would have written Zach Novak off, but now he has a shot at a championship. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of these guys at the tail end of this round of one playoff grid. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off some crazy moves, some interesting strategy, or even in the championship race. Who's to say that they don't stay out or maybe take 2 tires instead of 4? It's a wide open ball game from here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Ryan. It's a wide open ball game. Lots to talk about as we head into tonight's race. But first, Alan, you always have the special guests just waiting on the sides for us to hear. And this one in particular, I'm curious as what they think of the series so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a certain 2-time Daytona 500 champion, well known to the iRacing community, and of course, the Sundays at NASCAR. He's going for a championship himself. We're talking about William Byron. We were fortunate enough to talk to him earlier and just ask him about the season as a whole. They've got 2 great drivers, including veteran Nick Ottinger, not having the best year, but we asked William Byron what it's like to have that veteran presence on the team and what it means for his partners.
Yeah, I think Nick's been a big staple to our program for a while. I think he's kind of built it to what it is. And obviously with his championship, that was a huge deal. We had a lot of fun celebrating that a few years ago. And I think he's just, like I said, been a veteran of the series. And it takes a lot of effort behind the scenes. I mean, a lot of practice hours and laps, and just appreciative of all his effort over the years.
And of course, the other side of that is his teammate, Tucker Minter, the young sensation, been winning since he was a rookie, still going for a championship, as is William Byron himself. So we asked William Byron about the other side of this, Tucker Minter, and what it's like to pursue that title.
Yeah, I think Tucker, he's been extremely fast this year, and he's young and competitive and fast. I've had a chance to see him. He's been to a lot of cup races this year. I feel like he's been kind of my eyes and ears to see what's going on. So he's just been doing a great job, and it's been nice to get to know him and just see all of his success. So hopefully tonight at Phoenix he can have a good semifinal race. And I know there's a lot of pressure in that. Those guys have worked all year long to get to this point, so you're trying to put all your eggs in the basket and just try to have a great final couple races. So looking forward to seeing him, and hopefully he can get it done.
And if there's one owner better than all others that knows the pressure of trying to advance through a playoff, it's William Byron. He's doing it right now. So we asked him about that pressure, that scenario. You have to do it in one race. That's what Tucker's in tonight. We asked William how he helps prepare his drivers and what that pressure's like.
You really just focus inward. I know everyone probably handles it a little bit differently, but you just focus inward on what the things you've done all year to get to this point. At this point, you have a good routine, you have a good process for how you do things, and you just try to follow that process to a T. So it's there's definitely pressure can do a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing is just trying to, focus on the things you can control, and try to do the best job.
Willie B hopes to be there with his driver, Tucker Minter, in just a few weeks. NASCAR Hall of Fame for the live championship. William's been there before. We presented the trophy together. We asked him what that live environment is like for this series.
That's pretty cool. I honestly don't know how they do it with as tuned in as they probably all are to their own sim rigs at home. I don't know how they get in a different one and go compete, but it's I guess they bring their own equipment, but it's that would be tough. I think it's that's a challenge, setting everything up and having the right tools, to go race is something that would be really foreign to me, but it's definitely, I'm sure, a lot of pressure too, having an audience and those guys handle it well. So it's a challenge. I think it's a good challenge though to kind of see who can excel in that environment.
And the Daytona 500 trophy, not the only accolade Willie B has got this year. He's also on the cover of the new NASCAR 25 video game. Byron grew up playing these console games, so we asked him what it was like to grow up doing that and now be the cover boy, one of them at least, on the game.
Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, it's I just think it's awesome, the effort that iRacing has put into this this program and getting this game going. I think it's going to be a big deal. I've had a lot of people reach out. They're excited to play it. So it's it's cool. I've had a chance to play some of the gameplay, and I think it's just going to be a great thing for the sport. And it's pretty surreal being on the cover like that, and having a chance to, a lot of people have reached out. It's been a pretty cool thing.
We know the game goes deep with the series, the tracks, the rosters. He told us he's played it so far. Give us a little clue. What can you tell us about it?
I think the graphics are really, really nice. I feel like the cars handle, well. I feel like they're realistic, the way that they kind of move around and the way the groove moves around. So I'm excited for it. I'm definitely gonna have it and be playing it a lot.
And we know it connects racing with gamers and vice versa. So what are you hoping people get out of this new console game? We asked William.
I think it just kind of gives us another game in that space that we haven't had for a little while now. I feel like there's, it does a lot for the NFL, it does a lot for Formula One as the F1 game. So I feel like it's just going to give us that platform to have something again.
Always pleasure to talk with the Daytona 500 champion. But guys, again, owner here in the series, and who knows better than him the pressure that Tucker Minter's feeling tonight. What a cool conversation they must have.
Well, that's a cool thing when you have owners of the teams in the series that are doing IRL racing. It's a great way for them to relate to our sim drivers. But speaking of an IRL driver, it's now going to a sim driver that's making waves in IRL. Of course, I'm talking about Garrett Lowe, who has been making waves in the NASCAR Euro Series because he's the first American in 7 years to score a pro podium in the series. Is that crazy, Ryan?
I mean, it's crazy because, Garrett Lowe, you have to think how little real-life experience he has. Yes, he's raced Legends cars on the small quarter-mile ovals out here in the States, but look at this racetrack, right? This is at Autodrome Most in the Czech Republic. It is a very technical, very tight road course, road circuit here, and it's more known for motorcycle racing, right? So to see Garrett Lowe get an overall podium, he did something that I couldn't do over there. He put it on the podium and got himself a junior class victory as well. You see him right there at the top of the podium. So incredible effort by him, and really just it's so impressive just seeing how quick he's adapted to this. And you could only imagine how much his sim experience has played into this. And a massive shout out to the 99 Bremotion team. They've done a fantastic job. I actually know a lot of the crew members on Garrett's car right there, his spotter mark. So just really cool story right there. The NASCAR Euro Series, a series that's coming to the service in the near future. So exciting stuff for Garrett Lowe and his family and his team.
Great story. Great story to have that connection of the other way, right? We see the sim and what it means to real life racers, and now to make it the other way, sim to reality pipeline, it only continues.
The sim to reality pipeline, I feel like will never end, Alan. It's going to keep on going. We love to see it. But what we also like to see is how you're racing in the sim at home, because it's time for Logitech Show Us Your Rigs, where we get to check out your rigs that you have at home. Our first one, Alan, this one's coming from Simcraft. Whoa, this is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is what sim racing's all about. This is the perfect accessibility rig where it's not only all the controls on the wheel, but you have the gas and the brake so that everybody can participate. That's the beauty of this series. That's the beauty of gaming, and just really nice. Nice cord management, nice big screen. I love this.
Yeah, it definitely gives that feeling as well for those that may not be able to race, in real life, that ability to feel what it's like on the track. Our second one's coming from Mike, and I'm really liking the chair, Mike.
Yes, no, I love this setup here. It's a nice little corner desk setup, real nice. And I love the sprint car seat sitting on top of the bar stool, right? I mean,
So skinny.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You see the Logitech power right there, the steering wheels and pedal. Really, really nice. Little mini PC over there on the left. Just overall, a real clean, simple-ish setup, but really nicely done.
Yeah, that one was out of this world. If you saw that space poster he had in there, you get the reference. This next one, though, is from Jude. And Jude is, has a really comfortable rig here set up. And that's the fascinating thing. The size of these rigs really fluctuate for your space.
Yeah, if you look, this might be in a coat closet. If you, I think I might see some clothes back there. But yeah, that's all you need. You need a little corner of your apartment to make this happen. Maybe even possibly some VR that goes on here. I love it. That's all you need. Just get in, get on.
And the next one, oh my God. Cherry's sending this one to us, and already you got us hooked, because who is this adorable little pup? Cherry.
Puppy.
Oh my goodness, this is from Matt Malone. Big fan of his content, one of the best sim racing streamers out there. And you see his puppy here, Cherry. What a good little pup. You can't go wrong with that. And nonetheless, incredible rig here, right? Huge wide monitor, multi-screen, nice formula pedal, just overall incredible setup.
Yeah, and good stream setup too with that additional camera in the back. This next one is from Trevor. Again, great use of the space, Alan.
Oh yeah, I mean, perfect use of this space right here next to the closet. I love the Ayrton Senna posters up there. I mean, you could just see the appreciation for motorsports, F1, NASCAR, all the stuff, double monitors, perfect setup. It's all you need, a little space and a wheel.
This next one's from Hayek Motorsports. Quinn,
Oh,
we see
nice.
you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Quentin Warman, and he actually was able to go to the Sim Gaming Expo in suburban Chicago a couple weeks ago, put on some demonstrations to show kind of everybody what the NASCAR lobbies are like on iRacing, and was not able to show off his skill, but this incredible rig that Simcraft had on display. And I personally got to test out this rig. Insane stuff, some of the best out there. So really cool stuff there.
All right, let's get to our last one here. And whoa, the pasta himself, Anthony Alfredo, sending this one in.
The sauce, Anthony Alfredo. Looks like he got his rig back together. Love the personalization. I love the 4 monitors. He's got his own IRL car up there going through. Looks like in some wet weather conditions. I mean, look, he knows how to do it. We know he's one of the best, and he's got a great setup.
Yeah, speaking of pasta, we're going to be talking to him in just a bit. Well, actually, Alan, you will be, but remember, you could send your rigs to us using the hashtag eNASCAR, tagging eNASCAR GG and at iRacing, because we love to see them right here. Now, Alan, I did talk about it. We saw his rig. He got it back together. Anthony Alfredo, no stranger to the show, and you're getting a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, he's going to join us now. I think he's logging on there. Beautiful, Anthony. Great rig. Glad that you got it all set up. We know you put a lot of mileage on that. We're talking Logitech G Play tonight. What is that? What makes you excited about what's coming right now?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm glad you asked me about that. Logitech G has been a great partner of mine. I mean, I started my sim racing journey on a Logitech G wheel and pedal set up my desk many years ago before I ever got into a real race car. So it's been a huge part of my career, and I love having the privilege to share some news about the Logitech G Play Day tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Logitech's YouTube, youtube.com/Logitech G. You can check out Their biggest unveil of the year as far as new products. And the reason this is important for all those tuning in is there's a huge new product for the sim racing community that I'm super stoked about. I actually have it sitting next to me, so I've got a sneak peek here, and you're just gonna have to wait and see tomorrow, so don't miss that.
Come on, can you give us a little hint about what we're talking about? We got the Hall of Fame. We're gonna have a huge celebration in a few weeks. We're all gonna be excited tomorrow. Can you give us a little hint? This is perfect timing.
The closest thing I can get is just, it's so hard, but all I can say is they're covering all grounds when it comes to sim racing equipment for all levels of drivers.
All right, even beginners like me, I cannot wait to find out what exactly this is, because it's only going to help me. I need all the help I can get. The live stream, where can we see this tomorrow?
Yeah, this will be on their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Logitech G, to see it live at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so less than 24 hours from now. But you'll be able to obviously see all the releases on social media or the replay if you just so happen to miss the stream.
I know you always stay busy. Xfinity Series, they're actually off this weekend. I think it's your guys' last off weekend before the rest of the year over in the Xfinity Series. Trucks and Cup will be up in New Hampshire. So when you're preparing for a race, tell us about your sim work and how that gets you ready for these real-life races.
Absolutely. Well, a big thing about iRacing, obviously, it played a pivotal part of my career, getting me to where I'm at, but it plays an even more critical role now of just maintaining that skill set and being fresh every week when you get into the car, because our track time's so limited. So this is the next best thing to real life track time. And you saw a picture of my rig earlier, my SimSeats driving simulator, which has gradually grown over time and become larger with more attachments and upgrades, but it gives me the most immersive experience. And iRacing's so realistic that I want to be able to really maximize what it has to offer. So I can develop, my racecraft on the sim, but also just visual cues, going to new tracks and understanding what line I need to run, how to set up passes, and much more. So on top of that, it's obviously great fun engaging with the community, racing online with people, producing content. So it's never going away for me. It plays as important of a role now in my career as it did earlier.
All right, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, that's for the real stuff. The rest of the week, you're on the sim, putting in the hours. That's the real job. Then there's the console game. We know you played NASCAR 25. Maybe that's just for fun. What can you tell us about it?
I am super stoked about this game. Obviously, I was playing racing console games, as many people were before they got into actual sim racing on iRacing, and to have them develop a console game now that just really offers everything to players of all levels, right? New people to motorsports or NASCAR in particular, or even advanced players that have been waiting years, maybe even over a decade for a game of this power when it comes to the model, the physics, the way the cars look and feel, and the tracks. I mean, they're iRacing scan tracks, so everything looks and feels the same, but it's got that arcade style console game to it to where you can just get home and pick up and play and have a good time. So it's really awesome to see iRacing, take on that challenge and really knock it out of the park. I can't wait for people to experience it for themselves.
All right, quickly, in just a few minutes, we're going to fill out our championship 4. That's what we're here to do. Crown a Coke Series champion. Who's the winner? Who goes home with the championship this year?
Well, I know there's an intense battle on that cut line, but one guy that's already locked in and has already won a championship is my good buddy Zach Novak, back home from Connecticut, home state. I know, Alan, you too. So I'm pulling for Zach. I think he gets it done this year. It's been a long time coming since his last, and I'll be there to support him as well in person at the event.
Well, that's awesome. 3 nutmeggers, a lot of Connecticut people. Guys?
Oh, man. Well, Anthony, it's good to hear from you. It's fun to watch all the stuff you do. Speaking of Logitech, you said you started on a Logitech G. I have my Logitech G920 right here underneath me. So, I mean, it's my go-to.
It's always nice to have Anthony, there and, doing all the great things. He's such a nice guy to talk to. So thank you so much, Anthony. But now, Alan, we are getting closer to the race, and you know what? We never get this info from you, from the producers beforehand. We get it from you. We need to know the trends as we head into Phoenix.
Yeah, the trends for tonight. Look, 7 drivers have earned their first series win at Phoenix. That includes the active drivers. Nick Ottinger, we were talking about him before. Bobby Z and Parker White. Their first wins were all at this track. We're going to see if they can, maybe another first-time winner. That would really kind of shake things up. Only one driver has ever won Phoenix twice, and that was Keegan Leahy in 2018. He won it in 2022. That wasn't the year he won the title, but he was able to get the trophy twice there at Phoenix. So Phoenix winner has never started worse than 11 at Phoenix. So we really have to pay attention to qualifying tonight, because in the last 6 races, the winner has started within the top 6. So starting up front means everything at this racetrack. We know it's got that short track kind of vibe to it. So starting up front can mean a lot for everybody. 7 of the 10 playoff drivers have led at Phoenix. The 3 that haven't, get this, guys: Jordy Lopez, Colin Keister, and Steven Wilson, of all people, have never led at Phoenix. The guy who wins everything, the favorite to win the title, never led tonight. I want to see what he's capable of doing tonight at Phoenix. 3 of the 10 playoff drivers have won at Phoenix. We told you about some before. Of course, Bobby Zielinski, Parker White, and Tucker Minter, the man you're seeing right there, in his rookie year was able to get the win at Phoenix. He's one of those driver guys that really needs the win tonight if he wants to get to that championship 4. He's got to recreate some of that magic.
Oh, man.
Alan, I look at those trends and I'm just like, I'm hoping that we were talking about it before, our championship brackets kind of pan out. We're not going to go through our picks because that's all done with. But what we have to go through is power rankings, because our very good friend Justin Melillo, staff writer for iRacing, is here to tell us how he thinks his power rankings are, and then we're going to give him some hell for it. Maybe Justin.
Well, I hope not, because it's been pretty much the same all season. Steven Wilson's still on the top, Zach Novak also up there. They're racing for a championship this year. The next 2 on the power rankings, Parker White and Casey Kerwin, they have the tickets to the championship. They got to hold on to it tonight. I do want to shout out Christopher Hill and Femi Olat. They are still on this power rankings in 7th and 8th, even though they're not any playoff drivers. So that's great for them. Tucker Minter and Vicente Salas really thought that they would be able to be a little bit higher, but the math didn't work out for them. They're 9th and 10th. Then, of course, you get to the team power rankings. Spire Motorsports, Channel 199. We're really down to 2 teams fighting for this team championship, and they're the same 2 teams that we've been watching all season. And get this, they're the only 2 teams with drivers that are currently locked into the championship 4. So that is pretty much what we've got as far as power rankings. Nothing too crazy on that front.
I got you. Well, one of the things that we've seen these power rankings, but what are some of the clinching scenarios here, Justin?
We know Wilson and Novak are moving on. We know that any one of these 8 drivers still fighting can claim their spot tonight. If we don't get a new winner, Parker and Casey just need a solid day, top 10 finish or so. If one or both of them have issues, the drivers 5th through 8th. They're only separated by 5 points, as you can see there. You got Colin Keister, Jordy Lopez. They have to win tonight. But I've said this once. I'll say it again. I've got the math here. Sometimes you just have to throw it out. And that's what I'm doing. Just go win the race.
I feel like there's an Easter egg hidden in those numbers that was on that paper. We gotta, solve the problem there. But thank you so much, Justin. We've loved your power rankings throughout. I'm still rooting for Vicente Salas to take the win tonight, but we're gonna have to see who's the pole sitter. I think that's coming into us with our producers right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be Vicente Salas as the pole sitter. Breaking news.
And we all picked him. We all picked him.
That's the only thing we could agree on here.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Look, I'm trying to chase a perfect bracket here. I got Steven Wilson and Zach Novak winning. I got Vicente winning, and I got Tucker Minter pointing his way in. Tonight's the night, Vicente. Come on. You got it.
As someone who's really good at picks, Ryan, kudos to you. That is perfect if you can pull this off tonight.
Well, we're going to have to see how it goes. But you know what? From all of us here at Countdown to Green, thank you so much for watching throughout the season. We've enjoyed it. We will be joining you in person for the finals after this race. But for now, get ready because it's the race before the final race. So stick around right after this break.
Racing isn't just a game. It's a way of life. Every lap, every moment. Practice is about consistency. Winning doesn't come easy.
Yo! My turn, Bubba.
Dude. Feel the road. Own the race. Logitech G wheels and pedals available now on Amazon.
On paper, it's easy. Win and advance. But the truth, it's harder than the road they drive on.
Spin across the line. Wow!
12 drivers remain, hoping to match dreams with destiny and claim a cup filled with history. The NASCAR playoffs continue at New Hampshire on USA.
Shine with the glow. This is my time with it though. This is my time to be way at the top. Me and my guys gon' pay out the block. I don't look like war. Times right, and I never see us walking in a lot like. Promise you won't wanna watch like a sci-fi. My guys are high rises, high tide. My crown if you come to my side. I pledge allegiance for lifetime. My squad connected like Wi-Fi. We grind and you see the highlights. This my life. It ain't a game now. Me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Then step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
The road to $500,000 has reached its penultimate chapter. Tonight, from iRacing's virtual Phoenix Raceway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 17 of the 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. This is the Logitech G Play 120. At the end of the night, we will know the 4 drivers who will fight for a world championship here in 2025. It has been a spectacular 16-race season thus far, and we're happy that you're with us once again here on a Tuesday night. With Kenneth Bueno, my name is Evan Pasoko, and KB. 2 races into these playoffs, 2 very different playoff drivers with race wins leave us with 2 spots open on the line here tonight.
And what tonight means, Evan, is that there is no safety net. This is the only shot you have as a driver if you want to join Steven Wilson and Zach Novak as those with the golden ticket for the virtual homestead at Miami Speedway. This is where we sit. 6 drivers are trying to point their way in. Naturally, they can obviously go out for the win alongside Colin Keister and Jordi Lopez. But those 2 on the right side of your screen, Evan, they need to win this race. No questions, no ifs or buts. They've got to do it. And all the drivers have to execute. They want a chance at a title in 2 weeks' time.
And it looks like Casey Kerwin, a little bit of a gap, but know that if any of those drivers below him, Minter, Zelensky, Duval, or Salas, or the drivers in the must-win category take a win, it eliminates a position available on points. So up to 2 points paying positions available, maybe just 1 if we have another first-time playoff winner in this round. Well, as always, NASCAR Fan Rewards members, sign in now and enter tonight's code Phoenix9GL on your member dashboard to earn 50 points for joining us on our show tonight. And if you're not already signed up, it's not too late to do so. You go to NASCAR.com/fan rewards to join now or scan the QR code. Again, that's Phoenix 9GL to participate in your NASCAR Fan Awards program for this evening. Well, of course, there is a lot of exciting things to talk about, and we are going to bring in a guest once more from our Countdown to Green show, and that's Anthony Alfredo, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, and someone who's no stranger here to the sim. So, Anthony, thanks for hanging out as our kind of grand marshal, master of ceremonies of the night, we'll say. And you've got a really close relationship with Logitech, of course, tonight's race, the Logitech G Play 120. Just kind of tell us a little bit more about what that program is and what is so exciting about it.
Yeah, so Logitech G Play is a huge live stream they do once every year. It's their biggest product release of the year. So there's a lot of great new things rolling out tomorrow, and it's all going down live on stream on their YouTube channel, youtube.com/LogitechG, and then you'll be able to catch it afterwards if you miss it or see on social media some of the great new things they have coming out for the sim racing community. I can say that it's amazing what they've been developing the last few years to really cater to all levels of sim racers around the world.
I know we're a big fan of it here on the show. I'm looking at a Logitech webcam. I've got my Logitech wheel, my headset, my keyboard, all the peripherals. We're a big fan of theirs and happy that they're a part of being a sponsor for this series. You mentioned the live stream. For those who maybe don't want to wait for the news to trickle out on social media, if they want to see it live and in real time, how can they tune into that stream?
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m., so less than 24 hours from now on youtube.com/LogitechG for Logitech G Play. Don't miss out. Like I said, a lot of new products coming out and some really exciting ones for all the sim racers.
We talk about Logitech's long history with iRacing, but iRacing is more than just the simulation service itself now. Of course, iRacing Studios, the group behind the new NASCAR 25 console game, which is going to be coming out soon. Every day I go on social media, I see chatter about it. You've gotten a little bit of a taste of it. What can you tell us about NASCAR 25?
I could say that it's definitely the best console game we've had in many years, if not decades, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for something like this for quite some time, so I can't wait till everyone gets to experience it for themselves. I've been fortunate enough to get a sneak peek and do some gameplay. I think we may or may not have some footage of that rolling out soon, hopefully, but it's a big step up from what we've had in years past between the career mode, the car physics, just the graphics themselves, the way the tracks look. Obviously, they're iRacing's track scans, so it's very similar to what you can expect on the sim in the palm of your hand in a controller.
Well, we'll turn things back to this series. One race to go until we know the 4 drivers for sure who are going to be fighting for the championship at the NASCAR Hall of Fame in a couple of weeks. So I'll put you on the spot. Right now, who do you think of our eligible drivers is going to be walking home as an eNASCAR champ this year?
Well, there's a lot of drivers on the cut line I was talking about earlier, and I know you mentioned, but my good friend from my home state of Connecticut, Zach Novak, has already locked himself in, and he's got a chip, but it's been quite a few years since then. So I think he's got that chip on his shoulder to go out there and earn himself another one. I know he's got what it takes, and definitely looking forward to the live event. I'll be there again like I have been in years past, and it's going to be exciting nonetheless.
Fellow Connecticutian, that's probably not a word, but
that
I appreciate
there.
Okay, I got it. There you go. Looking forward to, obviously it was an emotional win for him. Looking forward to seeing him back in that finale. I'm looking forward to seeing you there as well. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get the group back together. I think we are about ready to get this thing underway. What do you say?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, but cars are rolling and it's time to get this race going.
We appreciate you being with us. That's Anthony Alfredo, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, and a very good iRacing driver here on the service as well. Anthony, we appreciate your time. And with that, we are about ready to get racing here tonight for the second to last race of the season. So as the cars roll on Anthony's command, let's go trackside and take a look at your Coca-Cola starting grid. It is pole position number 5 of 2025, more than any other driver for the Canadian Sports number 11 Vicente Salas. He'll bring us to the green flag tonight. Next to the BS competition 89 machine, it's Jordi Lopez, 2 playoff cars looking for wins on row number 1. Row number 2, Zach Novak is locked in. He knows he'll fight for a championship this season. He's joined alongside his Channel 199 car by the FGR XL racing 14 of Seth Demergent. Then Tucker Minter kicks off the inside of row number 3. The William Byron Esports 97 car starts alongside your second locked-in playoff car, the Spire Motorsports 77 of Stephen Wilson. Continuing on through, more playoff drivers with Casey Kerwin in the Pioneers number 24 car. He'll be next to the highest runner of some of the non-playoff cars. That's the Team Dillon 33 of Taylor Hurst. And to round out your top 10, P9 on the grid goes to the Apex Racing Team 96 of Christopher Hill in a big battle for the rookie points. He's next to the Channel 199. That's Dylan Duval.
Pair of rookies on row number 6, including the Letard Esports number 40 of Connor Euroshak, trying to beat Christopher Hill for Rookie of the Year honors, and Quentin Warman, the Hayek Motorsports number 50 on the outside in P12. Then the ERA Esports number 22 of Bobby Zelensky, trying to win or point his way to the Championship 4, which he's been very familiar with. And Blaze Crawford, the number 3 for Team Dillon Esports on the outside in row number 7. Back in row 8 is where you'll find the 6 Karma number 39 of Daniel Falkingham, alongside the defending winner of this race and the defending champion, the Atlassian Williams Sim Racing number 95 of Parker White. Behind them is the teammate of Parker White, the Donovan Strauss machine in his number 4 Chevrolet, alongside the other FGR XL car, the number 12 of Ryan Luza in his machine from 18th place. Final 2 in the top 20 include the Vegas Inferno number 1 of Malik Ray and Michael P. Frisch, subbed in for Logan Clampett's E-Racer car not too long ago. He's filling in for Eddie Kerner's number 19 tonight in 20th.
First time we've seen a sub-driver drive 2 different points races this year. Row number 11, you'll find the Spire Motorsports 7 of Femi Olatunbosin. He's next to the William Byron Esports number 25 machine of Nick Ottinger. Row number 12, inside the RFK Racing 17 at Timmy Holmes. And to the outside, the Junior Motorsports 88, that's Briar LaPrade. Lucky row 13, you'll see the Kevin Harvick Incorporated 29 at Jimmy Mullis. Next to the second of the KC Pioneers cars, that's the 48 machine of Graham Bolin. 27th on the grid tonight, lined up behind his teammate, the second of those Kevin Harvick owned cars. It's the 62 of Matt Busa. He's next to the E-Racer 42 of Logan Clampett. And through your top 30, Blake McCandless in the Junior Motorsports number 8, going to be alongside the Vegas Inferno 21 of Michael Guest.
The final 10 in this field start with the other Apex Racing car, Cody Bias in his number 98 machine, and Garrett Lowe for the BS Plus competition ranks. He's going to be on the outside in 32nd. Behind them, the 47 for Hayek Motorsports of Dylan All, and the Jim Beaver Esports number 15, Colin Keister's got a deep start tonight. He needs to win tonight if he needs to go into the championship 4 2 weeks from now. Tyler Gary for E-Racer inside row 18, alongside the ERA Esports number 34 of Michael Cozy Jr., who's the last driver in on top 20 for relegation. Got to keep that in mind for tonight as well. Before you find Nate Stewart, the other Jim Beaver Esports Ford Mustang, and Kwame Scott, the Letart Esports number 36. And that'll bring us to the final row tonight. Colin Bowden's number 6 for RFK Racing, and the other end of the Kanan Esports camp, the number 66 of Alexander Russell, shotgun to the field from Phoenix.
It's going to be a look top to bottom at your Coca-Cola starting grid. Zach Novak, Steven Wilson already locked into the championship 4 for the 8 other playoff cars. One more opportunity here tonight to get it done as we take a look at our Logitech G Play race analysis.
Yeah, we've got 120 miles in. At most tracks, that's more miles, but it's 120 since this is just a 1 miler. This track will be all about track position, and tire sets will matter as well. 3 of them available to the drivers. However, if we do end up with a late race situation under pit stops, do not be surprised if we see some rather interesting 2-tire calls. It's been proven to work with this car and this track combo. If we decide to go green, though, we keep it clean for the rest of the race. 55 to 60 is the fuel window, so Evan, we should be looking around halfway of the race for a 1-stopper. That is if we stay green.
Well, it'll be the 11th race all time in series history here at Phoenix Raceway. Of course, we crowned a champion back here in the 2022 season. And a handful of drivers in the field of previous race winners here in Phoenix. Parker White did it in 24, Tucker Minter did it in 23, and Zelensky for playoff cars did it in 2017. We also saw Nick Ottinger win it back in 2012. One more opportunity to punch your ticket into the championship 4, and we're happy that you're with us on the iRacing Esports Network. Pace car off and away as we get set for the Logitech G Play 120. Let's go racing at Phoenix. Good start to the inside. Salas, the lead clear for P1. Down to turn number 1. 3 wide through the dogleg. The lesser banked half of the racetrack. 4 wide. Tail end of the top 10. But they're all chasing the number 11 Toyota. Trouble into the outside wall. Early caution flag. And it appears Zelensky might be involved.
Yes, he was. He was turned at the exit of the second corner, and that was the chaos, Evan, I was already looking for. You fan out so wide in that low-banked 1 and 2 area of the racetrack. Everyone's going to try and send it, looking for position, and unfortunately, Bobby Zelensky was one of those casualties involved in the biggest and first crash of the night for the yellow.
Looks like Dylan Duval also damaged in this one. The 95 machine of Parker White got a little bit of it. Let's wind it back and take a look. And again, look for the drivers with those red roof numbers. Those are the playoff cars, but it all starts some 3 wide and 2 wide. And with different lanes off the corner, KB just kind of staggered there as Zelensky gets into the 33.
Yeah, and it narrows up at the exit of turn 2. You've got such a wide entry into that corner, but as soon as you come out, the walls come up on the left side to enter pit road, and then the outside wall starts creeping up as well. So you really see everyone start to congregate together. They get a little bit more intimate, and unfortunately that results in some of the contact. Daniel Falkingham was the one who had turned Bobby Zelensky. But again, it's a chain reaction, Evan. It's so many drivers that make one tap, and then behind them there's a checkup, and then it's just a domino effect from there. So everything continues to add up. Parker White is hit pit road, so that's going to be damage for the defending champion and winner of this race. And I'd say probably thankful that Dylan Duval is to kind of get away from that. He's really the only driver that was sort of around that incident at the front to be able to scatter away without any damage.
It's interesting. On a first look, it looked like Duval got more of it than White did. But obviously, to your point, White is down for repairs, and Duval stays out onto the racetrack and will maintain a top 10 running position. So 2 very different outcomes for a couple of those playoff drivers. And Parker White came in as the benchmark. He was the highest driver in the points ranking. As you see him still stationary in the box. It has been a good couple of weeks for Parker White as he leaves the pit stall, because he is your 2025 winner of the William Byron Esports Bracket Challenge presented by Logitech G. It was a heads-up battle between him and Ryan Luza a week ago, and Parker White went through the madness of the bracket, took home the win, so congratulations to him for that. But I know that this night just got a lot more stressful for him because his focus obviously on being above the cut. You'll also notice, because the caution flag came out, KB, lap number 1, we're going to go single file for this restart, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to want to clean this up, especially when they go into turn 1, because you're packed in too wide, and then everyone tries to use the dog leg. There's asphalt there for a reason. It is legal use, so you can go down there and try to get the upper edge as soon as you go for the hard braking zone in turn 1. One really interesting thing about Phoenix, though, Evan, is look at where pit road starts. The wall begins at the exit of turn 2, and you don't actually get to the restart zone until you're in the middle of 3 and 4, so you have to wait agonizingly long as the race leader to figure out when you're going to go. Everyone has to stay between pace limits, and they cannot overextend or else they'll get a penalty. So Salas has to be careful here through the restart zone to bring in lap number 5.
A lot of discipline, can't pass anybody as well to the outside on the restarts. The 11 in control, green flag back in the air, we're off and away. Battle's going to be on for second spot as Jordi Lopez is all over the bumper of Novak. Does he make a dive into turn number 1? He does not. A couple of people, though, making the moves further back. Already 2-3 wide. It's what that open dogleg lends this racetrack to.
You know, we have seen so far, Evan, a lot of the aggressive moves, but that's obviously by design. Track position here at Phoenix is so hard to come by. So that's why they were 3 and 4 wide on the opening laps of this race. Not because they want to normally, but because they really have to. If they don't get up in front and the race extends to a 10, 15, 20-lap run, it is going to be 10 times harder to find your way around another race car, unless it includes, getting out of line to create some clean air opportunities for yourself, which we'll see drivers do, particularly in turns 1 and 2. But as you watch those guys in between the top 5, a good, interesting mix of playoff competitors, especially Jordi Lopez here in a must-win situation tonight. Evan, a great qualifying effort, and so far has escaped any possible chaos that could reach the back or front end of his number 89 Chevrolet.
Yeah, Colin and Jordy. So Colin Keister, Jordy Lopez, the two drivers who cannot point their way in and need to win this race if they want to get to the championship 4. But Lopez is going to be going the wrong direction maybe soon, because the 97 of Tucker Minter, maybe one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, just made a move on the 2 of Zach Novak. He's up to 3rd, and he's going to try to chase down Jordy next in a battle that would be for 2nd. Jumping back a little bit further in the field, looking at the number 96 machine. That's Christopher Hill on Seth the Merchant for 7th and 9th spot. Seth able to get a good run off at turn number 2 to defend up on the outside lane, as then you dive back down to the turns 3 and 4 end of this racetrack. Now there's a live look in at the points as they run. Vicente Salas came into tonight 19 points below what would be the proverbial cut line on points, but as your current race leader, it would score him as in. The 24 machine of Kerwin would be in on points, and I mentioned Parker White came in as the best driver on the points. He's minus 20 plus, so he has work to do. The good news is he has time to do it. Still 111 laps to go, but this race will fly by if we get some green flag laps in.
Yeah, there is still so much time for Parker, and plenty of opportunities for maybe yellows to come out, in which Parker can take an opportunity there, here and there in a moment to be able to gain at least some bit of track position. But this seems to be an exact mirror image of what we saw last year, and it even comes down to this production choice right here for the rear view onboard camera. This happened earlier in the race when Salas was in a similar position, needing to point his way into the championship 4. He led a good chunk of that race early. Cautions would come out then, and it really ruined his chance at being up at the front to win. He ended up finishing in 3rd, so it wasn't a terrible finish, but again, not what you need in a championship 4 scenario. So Salas, I think, would be better off just trying to win this race. And the same goes for Colin Keister here, Evan. Won the race at Las Vegas to punch his ticket into these playoffs, but ever since hasn't really had the most successful campaign for Jim Bieber Esports, and that horrible race at Michigan in which he crashed into turn 1 didn't help his cause. He needs to win, and he's deep in this field.
Yeah, things are going better for him, I'll say. He did not post a time in qualifying, so started from the back in 34th. He has made his way all the way up to 21st, so that is a big bulk game off of the jump. The problem is he's the 3rd lowest running car of the playoff drivers, and again, he is in a must-win scenario. Colin, the only driver in our 10-car playoff grid in their first career playoffs appearance here this season in 2025, so watch for the number 15 to pick his way through the field. I mentioned you're looking for those red numbers on the roof, the windshield banners. You can see them from high above, but again, that's also reflected on the timing and scoring tower left of your screen. Red means playoff car, and right now they occupy all of the top 6 spots, including this man right here in Jordy Lopez Jr. I thought out loud a couple of laps ago, maybe he was going to be under threat from Tucker Minter, who was blitzing through the field. Not the case. Jordy pretty comfortable, I'd say, right now in P2. Look it up. That's a half a second gap to the leader. Behind him, it's a half a second gap to Tucker Minter in 3rd.
And what you see, Evan, between Jordy and Colin in must-win situations in this race is who they become in these moments. You really understand who you are as a competitor when the lights are at its brightest, when you're under the most pressure. So between Jordy and Colin, they have to figure out what kind of identities they host to be able to move their way up through the field, or if you're like Jordy Lopez, just move one spot and be able to sit in the race lead, have a chance at the W tonight from Phoenix. But there's a really big mental aspect to it. We mentioned how the championship 2 weeks from now, when you're in person fighting for the title in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, how big of a mental adjustment that is between the comfort in your sim rig at home versus racing in front of a crowd of people and so many outdoor factors. Even in this situation, when you're in must win, you have to execute, and there are no other chances, no safety nets, that's where you really figure out who you are as a driver and how competitive you can be. It's all about digging deep.
Yeah, and a lot of experience currently on the docket if you're thinking of joining us at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, because Zach Novak, of course, will be back in the Championship 4 for the first time since he won a title. It'll be his 2nd Champ 4 appearance. Stephen Wilson going to be making his 4th appearance in a winner-take-all Championship 4 race. So we'll see who else adds their names to that list in about 103 laps time. That 77 Wilson, again, his job is done. He knows he's moving on, but still wants to be a factor in this race. By winning and playing spoiler, he could further his advantage, right? He may not want somebody who comes in needing a race win per se, Think of Vicente Salas, Bobby Zelensky. If he could win and prevent one of those guys from getting a win and you're in, might help his chances out. So Steven just as incentivized to be out there and be a competitive race car, and he's showing it right now as he runs steadily inside of the top 5, just ahead of Casey, who we were getting the on-board look with those two cars. Well, I mentioned I thought I saw Dylan Duval in the wreck. He did not come down pit road, Kenneth. However, there is damage on the left front of that track racer Toyota Camry. So he was involved. Clearly, he felt like the damage was not substantial enough to come down pit road. He has lost 2 spots from the restart, maybe because of the damage. We'll see. He's got Ryan Luza all over the bumper.
You know, it does affect the handling when you get damage like that, especially on the right front where the tire really wears down the most here with not a lot of banking across Phoenix. But thankfully, this is one of those tracks, Evan, where you can get away with a bit of aerodynamic damage and still not suffer any hefty consequences, which is very different from the last several regular season races. You know, you think of Pocono, Indianapolis, even the playoff race in Michigan, you get a bit of damage, your car is toast. You're going to lose a couple miles an hour down the straightaways. But here at Phoenix, you can get away with a touch here or there, and you could be okay. We just really don't know how much damage there is on the right front and how much it's affecting the overall handling. But it seems like Duval is going a bit backwards here, and because of that, he's dropped to 19 points outside of the cut line, which means he's got a lot of work to do. But the good thing is, Evan, he's in 13th. So in comparison to guys like a Tucker Minter or Jody Lopez, he has opportunities to gain more positions down the line and then even out with those folks at the front.
Yeah, certainly could be worse. And it's not helping him the fact that the car leading this race came into tonight behind him in the points. That just shuffles everybody down the running order. Well, we are getting down the championship season, but it's never too late to be in the loop on series standings, schedule, and on how you could become a part of the eNASCAR community. For more information on everything eNASCAR, you can go to eNASCAR.com today. I'm sure there's going to be tons of good content on there, as well as the iRacing and eNASCAR social channels as we get closer and closer to that October winner-take-all finale live at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It is the best time of the year. You got NASCAR playoffs for Cup, Xfinity trucks. You've got eNASCAR championship just on the line. Tons of stuff for you to take in on a weekly basis as the iRacing drone follows overhead Zach Novak and Christopher Hill at battle for P5 and 6.
Hey, Petit Le Mans is also coming up in October at Road Atlanta, so that'll be a lot of fun. Great moments. Great events on the iRacing service, even as we get to the tail end of the year. But great fights here in the midst of this group and several storylines. We mentioned, obviously, Wilson and Novak. When you have that position of knowing you're locked in to the championship finale, I mean, it adds so much relaxation that I think as a driver, you may even want to run harder in a race like this to try and go at it for the win, because you know that no matter what happens, even if you crash going for the win, whatever goes down, you're fine. You will be going to Homestead. And knowing how much time and effort these drivers put in, Evan, at getting through laps in the middle of the week and working with their team to dial in a perfect setup for a race like this, or even at Homestead at Miami, you know, they're going to have that extra time to be able to dial in those setups. And that really makes a huge difference in more preparation versus less preparation as Duval is getting a bit physical. I don't think he's happy, Evan, with the lost track position in this route, down beneath the top 15, giving a shove, chrome horn, literally, to Logan Clampett.
Yeah, those two, I think they got together a lot prior as Logan Clampett was making the pass. But again, I think Duval just more frustrated with this situation. Restarted in P10, but with the number 25 Avantinger making the move on the outside, he has fallen to a race low 18. This is not going the direction that he wants it to. And again, the longer this run stays under green, the worse it's going to continue to stretch out in his disadvantage. But you go on board with Tucker Minter, your 2023 race winner here at the Phoenix Raceway. Would love to get another trip to Victory Lane here at Avondale, Arizona, get himself into the championship 4. He's been pretty quiet and consistent tonight. For Salas up front, Salas started first, he's still first. Lopez, bottom left of your screen, started second, he runs second. But Minter and Wilson, they've been on the move. Tucker Minter passed 2 cars to get up to third. Again, it slowed the steady march just a little bit, but the gap, I think, really between your top 3 has pretty much been unchanged over the last 10 to 15 laps.
It has, and for Minter trying to become the second driver in a row to win this race and then win the title the following event, which what Parker White did last year at Phoenix and then at Homestead, Miami. But what you're watching between specifically Minter and Wilson is the patience that they've been able to carry with themselves, because as a driver, you have to trust yourself when you know you have a better long-run car versus a better short-run machine. Is on the bottom. There's a look at the replay, and there's that contact you mentioned. I mean, it's very minor, but again, really does play a difference, and Duval is just not happy at all down that straightaway. He's sending a message to the E-Racer number 42, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the 42 is no stranger to being aggressive. I've seen many people get mad at Logan Clampett because he'll race you hard, but the 42 looked to me like he was just holding his line, and again, I get it. If you're the 199, that's just not a position you want to be in. It is understandably frustrating, and now you'll have two playoff drivers intersecting here on strategy. Colin Keister, remember, started from the back. He did not qualify. He's charging through the field, and he'll go 3 wide with the 199 of Duval in the center, who's having the opposite night. Duval started up front in the top 10, but is dropping the wrong direction, and they're going to race down the back straightaway. You suspect this will eventually swing in favor of the number 15 machine. We'll see, though. Again, give credit to Duval. It's not making it easy on anybody, but two intersecting races for these two drivers going opposite directions.
Yeah, for Keister, his long-run pace is really starting to kick forward, and same for the driver right behind him, and Michael Cozy Jr. They've been able to slowly but surely make their way up to the field with this long-run pace, and that inside is just so strong here at Phoenix. You can make the top work in 1 and 2, but you need a bunch of laps and a bunch of energy on the bottom to be able to make that happen. I don't know if it's been that long enough in the race yet to where the very top group here at Phoenix in that part could be of any use. And for Cozy Jr., I mean, give him credit. Started 36 in this race because he had to. He did not qualify because he wasn't able to due to penalty points, and he's the driver, Evan, right on the mark for the top 20 relegation cut line. He comes into this race 20 points, or 20th in points, and only 5 ahead of Seth the Merchant to stay in this series confirmed for next year after Homestead. So what a manner of getting through the adversity for Michael Cozy Jr. as Duval's starting to face a bit of that adversity as we approach midway.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier either. And you talk about those other battles. That's one of my favorite things about this series is the hard charging to Michael Cozy Jr. now goes to the inside of Bowden. It's a battle for 21st and 22nd with Dylan Duval, maybe the prize to be won on who can get to the bumper of that Toyota first. But we have the overarching conversation, which is, of course, the battle for the championship and the championship 4. You've got the relegation battle as Bowden gets a bit of the fence there. You've got the rookie points battle. You've got the team championship battle as well. There are so many different things to track over the course of this week and next that if you're paying attention, storylines everywhere you look. They've been trying to get around the 199 on the inside for the last couple of laps, and Colin Bowden finally gets to the outside of him and makes quick work. So Bowden's through. The 34 of Cozy going to try to follow suit. They have finally, I think, figured out the way to get around the 199 machine. If we talk about some of the trends, well, 7 of our 10 playoff drivers have led laps here at Phoenix. The drivers who have not coming into tonight, Wilson, Lopez, and Keister. Well, Lopez right now P2 in a spot to break that trend.
You know, that's kind of why Alan Cavana on our Countdown to Green show had a bewildered look on his face when you read that stat, because Steven Wilson, out of all drivers this year, hasn't really led lap at Phoenix, is not that most successful here at this 1 miler in the desert. You'd think that with Wilson's dominance almost everywhere else, that he would be able to grab the Phoenix race like an infinity stone and just keep rolling on forward. But this could be the race where, even though he's locked into the championship 4, probably a place where the low dog with a bite and a bark could be able to move up forward and try to snag an extra victory. What I have noticed is that the top 3, Evan, they're really starting to crunch up forward. And again, the patience in the long run in both Minter and Wilson, in which with countless races in 2025, we've seen them over 35, 40 lap runs be able to break free and just have a much better car, rotating wise, than everyone else. You've just got to trust yourself that you have it. You can't really force your hand out too early. So what's happening between these two, and look where they are in the midst of the top 5, nearly trying to look for the lead on Salas.
And we are starting to see things tighten up a little bit on Vicente Salas as your leader. He had been holding a pretty steady half a second lead over Lopez. Lopez with about a half a second over Minter. Now, call it 3.5 tenths between each car inside of the top 4. So they are all compressing onto each other. Salas is coming back. Wilson and Minter are closing in. And lap by lap, those lead 4 cars. Even Novak, too, in 5th, a little bit further back. All playoff drivers amongst the top 5. But those 4 specifically getting closer and closer every single time around. You have to feel like something is brewing in the battle for the lead. Playoff cars, high stakes, and 2 tickets to the championship 4 still hang in the balance. So far, it has been all Vicente Salas. He continues to lead at Phoenix in the Logitech G Play 120.
Racing isn't just a game. It's a way of life. Every lap, every moment. Practice is about consistency. Winning doesn't come easy.
Yo! My turn, Bubba.
Feel the road. Own the race. Logitech G wheels and pedals available now on Amazon.
Regular season wins are cute. All those laps led, adorable. And the burnouts reek of yesterday. But it's the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs now. No time to admire your reflection in the shiny trophies of May and June. No. It's what have you won for me lately time. No room for resting on laurels, because it's the survival of the fastest, my friend. And to be champion, you best not look back.
Coverage of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series playoffs is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. By Logitech G. Logitech G's biggest announcements of the year are dropping tomorrow during Logitech G Play. Tune into the live stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/Logitech G. And by Sunoco. From fueling your favorite NASCAR teams to filling up at the pump, Sunoco is trusted to help vehicles perform at their peak. Sunoco, performance is what we do.
Well, back live here at the Phoenix Raceway, continuing under a long green flag run where Vicente Salas has now stabilized the advantage that when we stepped aside was shrinking. Now, yes, it's only a 1/10.5, maybe more than it was when we stepped away, Kenneth. But when you're talking about the very best, 0.3 of a second and 5.5, that's a pretty big difference. So for the moment, we'll put a pause on the battle for the race lead and instead jump back to watch this. Zach Novak and Christopher Hill battling for position. 2 drivers in very different spots. Christopher Hill, not a playoff car. Zach Novak fighting for a championship. But Christopher Hill is fighting for a lot in his own right. Only 3 points behind Connor Urashak for the lead rookie in the standings this season. And now on the inside of the 2, trying to make a move. Urashak, by the way, directly behind these cars. He's in the number 8 spot. So Christopher Hill and Connor Urashak, the rookie points battle to watch over these next 2 weeks.
It's been just as scintillating to watch these two go at it as of late. Alike with the championship drivers fighting for the title, which will be in 2 weeks' time in virtual homestead in Miami. But as Hill makes this pass for 5th, only elevating the level of fire that Hill was playing with and has been playing with over the last several weeks. He had a 3-race top 10 streak snapped in the last race at Texas, but he finished in 12th. And with that pass, now will tie Connor Yurashak for Rookie of the Year. When we were talking about Christopher Hill in the first 5 weeks of the season, Evan, we were thinking he's below the top 20 right now, hasn't had a good run, but ever since, he has really been able to find his step, and that's at the right time because he's moved into the top 20 in points, and not only is he above the top 20, he's above it relatively comfortably, so he can go in these final two and take a swing at it. Fantastic run for Hill over the last few races, and now trying to run for that Rookie of the Year honors. It's a great call.
Yeah, and you look at Yurashak's last 4 races, a 9th and 8th, a 24th, a bit of a hit in the 14th. That's not all that bad. For a rookie, it's just Christopher Hill's been better. A 4, a 2, a 6, and a 12. It has been quite impressive. I say those two guys are probably pretty safe, if not already locked in, to being able to, stave off relegation, to be in this series again in 2026. I also think Blaze Crawford's got a really good look at it. He's got a 4-race top 15 streak working, but he's 33rd tonight. He's the 3rd highest rookie. He's going to be close to the bubble, but some interesting rookie storylines to follow because nobody, especially a rookie though, wants to go back through what will be a new qualification process as we head into 2026 with the Road to Pro ladder being streamlined and now the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series feeding directly into this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. But there's the odd board with Yurashak up 3 spots from the start of the race, and again, even with Hill in the rookie points, running 3 spots behind him on the racetrack.
That's a great point, Evan, that you make about having to fight through the qualifying series again. And there are 2 different things about this new format for next year and how the Coke Series will play a role in that, because you have less races, which is good for timing reasons, as the first yellow will come out, but there's not the chance to have more races to get back on your momentum if you fall off. There's a spinner in turn 2, and it's Colin Bowden, actually turn 1, coming off the dog leg. So a spinner into the first corner. Colin Bowden seems to be the only one involved. And after 53 laps, Evan, we probably anticipated the first yellow to come a little bit later, but looks like, or the second yellow, looks like we're going to have it later on tonight.
Yeah, and this one right at the midway point, too, should bring a wholesale pit service for all of the race leaders. At 68 laps to go, a little bit outside of what we said was the recommended run or fuel window of 55 to 60 laps on tires at a fuel, but maybe a number that everybody can hit. So all of your race leaders going to come down pit road. Outside of cars that got damaged on the lap number 1 incident, we did not see anybody come down for a competitive pit stop. So this is the first time all of your race leaders are down pit road. Let's wind it back and take a second look at what happened in the incident. It was a battle for P19 between Bowden and Cozy.
So just like last year, Evan, after a decent green flag run, it's a caution that involves Michael Cozy Jr., and it's almost in the same vein, too. You run up wide off of turn 4, rather, because it's such a tight corner. You come down to the dog leg. I think Cozy just might have thought maybe he'd be able to get a little bit closer, bring the 6 car back before they got into the corner, but I mean, they just make the contact, and that's a really awkward place to get turned. But for Bowden, it's not a good one. The left front goes right into the wall. I'd imagine totaling damage on the RFK racing car. Better look at it here. That merge off of the dog leg just gets very dangerous.
Yeah, just tough there, and we know it's sketchy on restarts, but even under green, it's hard to find those marks, and Cozy probably a little bit too high. Well, a change for the race lead on the exit of pit road. Jordi Lopez was able to take the number 1 spot away from Salas. He spent 10.2 seconds in the box compared to a 10.5 second pit stop for Vicente Salas, and that is the difference maker. Both of those cars took 2 tires only, and we talk about the trends. Drivers to lead laps. Well, Jordi Lopez will snap it the next time by. He'll break that trend because he's going to be your leader this time by. Interesting, we always give so much credibility to the number 1 pit stall. That's what Salas had by qualifying on a pole, but didn't matter. Lopez quick enough to beat him off at the pit lane, and now we'll see if the 89 can take advantage.
Well, Evan, with a series this competitive, and because these are the 40 best sim racers in the world, they are so close in time, whether it's qualifying and literally everything else, to even the pit stops. They're so close in time, you have to find minute differences to be able to have the upper hand over the other. So it was just a cleaner overall entry and exit for Jordi Lopez, which is a fantastic pit stop. And you think about 2 tire calls I mentioned on our Logitech G race analysis, it was going to come handy. The drivers that took 4 tires, they're 17th on back. So almost everybody at the front has taken a chance at only 2. It works here at Phoenix. Track position matters so much. And for Lopez, clean air is going to be a very big welcome. He's going to have that with open arms when we get this restart.
First cars on fresh tires. Clampett at Ottinger, 17th on back. Also, Salas no longer the leader, and in the live points now drops out of the championship 4. Jordi Lopez in control. Green flag flies. We're back underway. Here comes a battle for P2. 3 and 4 wide through the dogleg, but at the front of the field, Novak trying to clear Salas on the inside for P2. Not going to beat him off at turn 2, though.
Look like they get feisty, though, off of the corner again. All about trying to gain as much as you can. They're nearly 4 wide at the back. Nick Ottinger had sent it 3 in the middle of 1 and 2 on Nate Stewart. They made slight contact, but we're going to stay green for right now. And Zach Novak trying to be that spoiler in the middle of the top 10 group for the playoffs, trying to fight against Salas. This here is the absolute mess right behind. Again, you want to find the lane with the cleanest air. When you have so much traffic, it's so hard to come by, so you got to extend a little bit more, and the 4 wide continues off for the wall. They're going on.
Yeah, Clampett hit the wall pretty good off of turn number 2. Checked him up, and in the 3 wide, Nate Stewart, center of it all. So is the number 88 machine of Brian LaPrade. That ongoing on the bottom is up front. Vicente Salas able to shake the challenge from Novak. He defends the number 2 position, and the battle up front is now for 3rd as the 24 of Casey Kerwin trying to go on the outside and has the advantage over Novak.
And who you see down there on the bottom end of your screen as there's contact in turn 3. As Bobby Zelensky got a touch to Michael P. Frisch, sends the 6 Karma Ford Mustang up into the outside wall. I was just about to say how the restart and the packed up nature of it helped Bobby Zelensky move up positions after what was a dire start to this race. And now he's involved in another yellow, this time just about halfway.
Second time that he's been in an incident tonight, and well, it is not exactly the same as the first caution flag of the night, Kenneth, on the opening lap. It's going to have some similar trends, and it's going to show when we take a look. A group of 2 wide and a group of 3 wide, and a little bit of either disagreement or miscommunication on whose lane is what.
And, you know, this is one of those short tracks where you have to find a braking marker. And usually there are 2 cones lined up against the outside fence that you use to start braking. A lot of drivers go earlier, some go later. It looked like Zelensky thought he could hang on to it at the bottom. But turns 3 and 4, even though it has a bit more banking at about 11 degrees-ish, Evan, here at this track, you honestly have lots of radius in its type.
Yeah, so an unfortunate incident there, especially for Frisch, making another substitute start on the night. One more reminder, under the yellow flag for NASCAR Fan Rewards members, tonight's member code is Phoenix9GL. Enter it on your member dashboard, lock in your 50 points on the night. You can always sign up. It's never too late by either scanning the QR code on the screen or going to NASCAR.com/fan rewards. Again, that's Phoenix9GL is your code. And Zelensky stays out, so he's not coming down pit road after being involved in the incident, but of course does not have him in a great position as he still actively scored in the number 20 spot. And early in this race, it was a playoff heavy top running order. It is still, but much less so. Top 4 cars in the running order, playoff drivers. But now we have a lot of big names spread throughout the field. Colin Keister, I'm going to say this is up to 14th position. He has been steadily going through the field, but with some work to do. But Zelensky, I'll call it stuck right now in P20. Parker White down in the number 27 spot. Steven Wilson's 28th. He's locked in. Tucker Minter 30th. Dylan Duval 34th. A lot of names that we were talking about earlier find themselves in the back half of the running order now.
Yeah, it's especially tough for Parker White, but it was obviously for a reason. He had a front nose damaged piece on the end of his car, which is right in the middle. We talked about it at Texas 2 weeks ago. It is a killer. It can really damage your car beyond sometimes repair for the rest of the race. So Parker just had to make sure he fleshed out the front nose of that car and got it back to at least somewhat 98, 99% on the racetrack. For Wilson, it's going to be interesting how he cuts his teeth through the back of this field, but obviously this yellow not benefiting drivers like Bobby Zelensky, whose move up to the field now going to be made just a little bit more difficult with another green flag restart.
Had a long green flag stretch, now a couple of restarts in a row. We are just past halfway home in the Logitech G Play 120. Lopez up front again. Green flag flies as we're back underway. Another good jump for the 89 machine. This time Salas going to be unchallenged for P2. He is safe to turn 1, 3 wide, tail end of the top 10.
And look at all these non-playoff drivers in the middle of the group, especially those middle 3 wide. The 2 Vegas Inferno Chevrolets are in it. Malik Ray and Michael Guess, what a job they've done to move up to the field slowly but surely as they try to chase Jordi Lopez. And you can use that dog leg again. There's so much asphalt even cutting down to the exit of the pit road wall. So you can really flirt with it down the end, which a lot of drivers are doing in practice. And a huge crash right behind it. It does involve one of your championship 4 drivers, Steven Wilson. The heart of the incident.
So Wilson gets collected. Of course, he knows he's safe. I think somebody whose heart just skipped a beat would be the 97 of Tucker Minter, because he is somebody who is not in a safe position, and he was right in the thick of that also. Same with the number 95 of Parker White. I think White actually gets a piece of this incident. So a lot of playoff cars really close to it. I don't want to say it's fortunate and not relevant for Steven Wilson, but again, grand scheme of things, he's fighting for the title fight. It could have been a lot worse if it was somebody else. We'll take a look at a battle that was happening for about 30th. They were 4 wide coming to the start-finish line, really all the way down the back straight.
Well, we mentioned how things narrow up, especially here out of turn 2. It also does so a bit into turns 3 and 4. There's that wall that comes up very quickly, and you've got to really rotate, and it's so hard to do so when you're on the throttle right about here at that O'Reilly Parts restart zone, and it's just minor contact of the quarter panel. White just barely gets a nose on McCandless, but that's such an awkward exit of the corner to which you're already turning the car to the right, and it's going to overcorrect no matter what. It's going to be really hard to save that, and unfortunately for Steven Wilson, you just happen to be in the path of it. But like you said, for Minter and for Parker White, those were huge dodged bullets because, again, they're pointing their way in. They have to be successful tonight. Wilson can go into this, kind of shrub this one off and be like, whatever, I've got more practice time for Homestead anyway.
He might do some more laps before this thing's done if he decides his night's done. I mentioned Tucker Minter's hurt must have skipped the beat. Let's just ride with him for this. Maybe a foot off the right front quarter, and that gave you a great perspective of how the contact happened on the bottom from that angle, almost looking like the 2 lowest cars in the 4-wide battle both came kind of slightly in each other's direction from that one. And if you're Minter, if you're Parker White, the first thing I think of, Kenneth, is if I'm seeing cars going 4 wide, I don't want to be anywhere near it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to see it, but you've got 55 laps left, and neither of you are in a transfer spot. So maybe we are at the point where you can't really pick and choose your battles, and you got to go with it at this point.
You know, it's kind of like that meme of the guy digging in the caves, and then he's just an inch short of all the diamonds. It's that kind of thing where if I do go 4 wide, I have a higher chance of crashing, obviously. But if I do go 4 wide, you know, I can also gain a lot of positions in one corner. You know, can get a hard dive in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. Automatically, I'm up 3 spots versus, you know, having to pick off one driver after the other, which is something like Colin Keister's method, which has worked, but only under a long green flag run. So especially here at Phoenix, where it's super technical and it really takes the best technical drivers that have the best discipline to be up front, it's all about having to take in those heaves, trying to go for the money makers, and a lot of those will be those 3 and 4 wide moves that you've got to really weigh in the balance, but a lot of those times they could be worth it, especially if you're at the back half.
So again, all of a sudden, we went long, green flag racing, and now with another caution within 1 lap of the restart, we will go to single file. Playoff cars running in your top 4 positions. Jordi Lopez and Vicente Salas both looking for a race win to get into the championship 4. They'll be in first and second. Salas on the throttle first, trying to push Lopez up and through the gears as they'll stay single file. Who looks first? The 11 car peeks to the inside. Does he go to the inside? He does. Side by side, battle for the race lead is on. 2 and 3 wide throughout the field, but Vicente Salas on offense to the inside of Lopez.
That was the best restart we had seen from Salas all night long, ever since he lost the lead to Lopez on the exit of pit road under yellow. And this time he's got a good move. They make near contact as they exit turn 4. The invitation wide open for Zach Novak to try and put his hands on this battle. Salas washes up wide, trying to nudge Lopez out of the way, and he does. What a move. Salas to the lead.
It is game on. Salas bumped him coming to the start-finish line, pushed him wide in turns 1 and 2, and it results in the number 11 Toyota going back to the race lead. He was the dominant car early until Lopez took P1 away from him on pit road under the yellow, and Vicente Salas flexing some muscle there and forcing the issue to get back to clean air and look at the live points again with the 11 in front. Now he flips back into the good, and Jordi Lopez flips outside of it. Remember, Lopez needs a win. There is no scenario where Jordi Lopez can point his way in, so that is a big change for position. And don't look now, Casey Kerwin, you're on board with the Coca-Cola Chevrolet in the number 4 spot, watching on, looking for more.
You know, I wouldn't be too upset if I'm Jordi Lopez because, yes, you lost the lead, but you have one of the better long green flag cars, as we noted from the first part of this race. So you can hang tough with Salas, and you can keep him within striking distance, and that could be more than enough, especially if this race continues to go green. And then you've got a guy like Casey Kerwin, Evan, who's in this series has been very close to winning several races this year in which, you know, he's been either wrecked or has been involved in trouble in the final 10 to 15 laps of the race. Kerwin has told us in many interviews that he's so close, but he's just trying to nab off that victory to get him into the championship 4 or just get him a win in general. And this could be a prime opportunity as Keesler under heavy fire by Dylan Alt. But again, this walk up to the field, the long walk for Keesler continues to pay off, Evan.
Yeah, 21 spots gained is the third most out of anybody in this race, but the rest of the field is not making it easy on the Misadventure brand Ford Mustang. And right now, side by side with Dylan Alt and the Pengu Chevrolet, the 47 car, one of the more popular paint schemes we saw in real-life Cup action not that long ago. So Dylan Alt sporting those colors here on the sim as well. On the bottom, though, going to struggle just a little bit. The top has been the place to be to close out some of these battles for position. 47 gets alongside. The 15 of Keester gets a shot there from Gary behind, but I do think the top is the place to be in the end. You can see mostly single file until you find this duo, the 40 of Urashak, the 24 of Kerwin. It's a battle for 4th and 5th.
And you'll see the differentiation of lines here, especially here at Phoenix. Is called the diamond in the desert, and you can also use the diamond effort to go into this corner here. Turns 1 and 2 can slide up at that apex and then start to arc a little bit down. It is a rather long corner, so you got to be really careful of that. As here was the move, Colin Keesler right in front of Tyler Gary, and again, that's the push into the corner that Gary had given Keesler. So I don't know how much damage that's really going to be, Evan, but that's a big time shunt in what otherwise has been a very positive journey through the field for that Jim Beaver Esports car.
Yeah, that seemed like a push and a half between those two. I mean, that wasn't a push you out of the line. That was a push into the wall. It's worth noting those guys had been battling for about a lap and a half prior to that. I didn't see anything crazy, but obviously Tyler Gary didn't appreciate something, and the message was delivered with the shunt into the corner. Right now, those two cars can't get back to each other because they're separated by the 47. Alt washes up, gets into the fence a little bit there, and has some work to do to build up some momentum. And the 22 of Bobby Zelensky is the driver on the move just ahead of Dylan Alt. The 22 car down to the inside of Keister with some work to do if Bobby Zelensky wants to make it to what would be another Championship 4 appearance. He's already done it 6 times. Can he head to the winner-take-all finale for a record 7th?
It would be wild if Zelensky can get back on that stage. He's one of the biggest personalities in the sim, so he brings out the show in the NASCAR Hall of Fame whenever he's a part of that Championship 4. But tonight, obviously, under way more pressure. And it's a little bit interesting that Dylan Alt is repping this Pengu paint scheme in probably one of the hottest locations that we have on the eNASCAR calendar in the desert. So a bit of an opposite end there, but for Zelensky, I mean, he's dodged several big bullets tonight. I mean, apart from the big crash to begin this race off of turn 2, then sort of a part of that other accident that we saw earlier on this evening, he's been able to get away with some of these scot-free for the most part. And I think really where 43 laps to go is where Zelensky has to turn on those afterburners, because you think to yourself, if I don't make this move right now, I'm going to be out of it for the rest of the race. Any waiting moments, I'm not going to be like Aaron Burr. I can't wait for it. You've got to take that shot.
And Bobby Zelensky locked in this battle with the 47, but again, 14th, he knows it. He's done this enough times. He's made it to the championship for it. He knows a P14 in this race is not enough for that number 22 car to be headed on stage at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He needs more, and you glance up to the top left corner, 42, soon to be 41 laps to go in this race. All of a sudden, time is running dry here in the first round of these playoffs. Nothing changing up front. Leader still Salas. Lopez second. Novak doing a good job of keeping it interesting in a battle for second and third, but it's still about 3.5, 4 car lengths of difference. And then Connor Urashak, by the way, we were talking earlier about how Christopher Hill had the upper hand in the live battle amongst the rookies. Well, Connor Urashak right now is in the number 4 position. Christopher Hill back in P26. So big swing between those cars in the Rookie of the Year honors.
You know what was the difference there, Evan? Urashak had taken 2 tires, Christopher Hill had taken 4. So that was the big time difference that had pushed Hill so far behind the rest of the group. And again, here at Phoenix, so hard to pass. So Hill has just been kind of mired in the back with trying to find a hole to get into, but just hasn't really been able to get there yet. For Urashak, it's been an all-time race trying to get away with, I believe, what will be his best career finish in his Coke Series career this year. So great job for the 40 machine as this Jordi Lopez car continues to hang tough. And what did I say earlier? Lopez is one of the better long-run cars in this field. He's been able to stay with Salas for the most part. And I think as a driver, again, you have to lean into that intuition, lean into what your team is telling you. If they tell you you're the fastest car on the racetrack, keep doing what you're doing. Hit those marks, because consistency matters, especially now in this final run.
And you wonder, Vicente Salas, when he went to make the move on Lopez off of the restart, again, he didn't, bully him out of the way, but he was certainly assertive with the bump to start and then running him up and out of the groove. You wonder if Salas felt like, hey, if I can just get the job done and not mess around with this, I need the track position. He feels like he's in a good spot, because it was a pretty decisive way to make the pass. And again, he is only continuing to grow his lead little by little. Well, looking at the number 25 machine of Nick Ottinger, we are so used to talking about this driver in battles for championships, and William Byron Esports driver right now worrying about a battle for P17. This would be a big step for Ottinger, whose current focus is the relegation bubble. It is a healthy, nearly 50-point difference for him to the bubble if he wants to stay locked into this series for next year. So P17 is going to do a little bit of work to help that, but Nick Ottinger not in a championship fight like we're used to, in a different fight, though.
And that's what's so unique about a series like this is that, and with esports in general, the turnover rate is so big. You have the young drivers that come in, they start to make an imprint. Steven Wilson hasn't been in this series that long, but he's already become one of the best drivers that we've seen. And Nick Ottinger, who's one of those OGs in Coke Series action, now he's challenged with having to hang with all of these new drivers. And, so far in 2025, he's had good runs, several poles this season, so it's not like the spark is gone by any means, but he's definitely a driver that has really been challenged this year, and it's been cool to see how he's been able to use that adversity to fuel him. And 13th place finishes in some of the last few races, I mean, that's good enough to stay consistent enough for Ottinger's pace, and he's working nicely on Gary, so another good spot that he could pick up here.
Yeah, Nick Ottinger has been around for a long time. Won 6 races back in the 2013 season. We talked about how that all-time single-year wins record was broken, as Steven Wilson's 7 here in 2025 eclipsed that tally that was set some 12 years ago. But plenty of competitive racing, I think, left in the Nick Ottinger machine, and it'll be interesting to see how that battle shakes out for him as the year continues to wind down. Every time I look at Keister, it's a spot gained. He's up to 13th. Zelensky following him in 14th. They just cannot get to these cars, though. Zelensky in that number 14 spot is the highest running car who took 4 tires, and we were down pit road, Kenneth. I think we said the highest 4-tire car on the restart was 17th. So they just have not made the progress that they were obviously looking for, in the 2-tire decision really showing out well. Now, 33 laps to go, 32 this time by. Could it really swing all of a sudden? I suppose, but right now the 2-tire decision certainly looking like the right one.
You know, it's kind of weird to say this because obviously all oval tracks wear down the right side tires more than the left side tires because you're putting so much load in it. But because Phoenix has these different ends, you're washing up in the middle of 1 and 2 to get a good apex so that you can rotate down the exit of the second corner. And then here in 3 and 4, you want to stick your sides to the bottom so that you can be able to use as much throttle and get up near the wall so you can cut down to the dog leg. So it's a bit of a weird circumstance here at Phoenix where the right side tires kind of do more of a beating than some of the other ovals like mile and a half that we see over the course of the calendar. So you really got to be careful with that. And with the 2 tire decisions, it's helped out with balancing out and still having a relatively clean race car as those points on the right side continue to alter just slightly, with Casey Kerwin being that final driver pointed in. But once again, just showed us how 2 tires versus 4 tires has paid off big time, especially for those that need that track position and or need a win.
And you see the bottom for 21st on the battle for 21st, I should say, on the bottom. A lot of playoff drivers in that battle as well. You got the 97 of Minner, the 95 of Parker White. White just has not been able to get back up there. And again, despite coming into tonight ranked number 3 in the playoff standings, you see the live points. P5 not gonna cut it for him, and P16 or 16 points, by the way, that is not an insignificant difference either. That's not a handful of spots. He needs positions in bulk and or needs the 24 car to lose some positions, and Kerwin seems pretty comfortable in the number 5 position. So as they run, it would be Salas winning his way in, and the number 24 of Kerwin in 5th, pointing his way in to make up the final 2 spots in the championship 4. Does that picture stay the same? There are 28 laps to go here at Phoenix. Just waiting on what happens next. As you see these playoff cars, they know the clock's ticking. They're running out of time, and saw a little bit of smoke. The 69 machine of Tyler Gary way up the hill just in front of these cars off of turn 2.
Looked like possible contact, and I'm not entirely sure. I think it was off the bumper of Kwame Scott. So what exactly happened with Gary in one of the cars earlier has happened to him seemingly in the same corner. He got kind of shoved up into the wall, got brushed up alongside, and that's where Alexander Russell and company in the moves. And now there's more drama. Gary's going to return the favor and cause a crash into Alexander Russell, into Nate Stewart. And that is not entirely the best case scenario for all those drivers hoping that this race would stay green until the end on a 2-tire call. Even worse, Dylan Duval got a piece of that as well.
It is going to be a battle between some non-playoff drivers, and it takes out Dylan Duval. Tempers are boiling over here at the Phoenix Raceway. We'll wind it back and take a second look. We knew something was going on between those 2 cars, and I don't know if we can wind all the way back, but this is like a 2-lap long story that starts down the backstretch on lap number 92, and it carries itself all the way through to what we saw. First, pit stops. Pit road is open, and all the race leaders were on pit road about 40 laps ago. Do the cars who took 2 need 4 now? Do the drivers who took 4 go for the 2? What is going to be the decision on pit road? Let's watch what happened here. Here's where it all goes wrong. 69 machine, that's Tyler Gary, gets in line, and very clearly delivers the message, pushes the 36 into the corner, and takes him out.
That's the second straight race in which Alexander Russell was on the outside of something that has absolutely nothing to do with him. And the same for Dylan Duval. Him and Parker White are running in the back. Again, they're alongside Tucker Minner trying to gain position, and Duval is going to be one of those unlucky candidates in this all. They come up the track, they come back down. It's Nate Stewart there. And by the way, between Kwame Scott and Tyler Gary, Evan, 3 separate bumper taps in those laps leading up to that incident.
Yeah, that was a long time coming. Gary moved the 36 machine out of the way the lap prior to that, so it was a couple of bumper tags back and forth. And on the race off of pit road, 2-tire decisions for all of the lead cars off pit lane, and Vicente Salas maintains the number 1 spot. We saw Jordi Lopez be able to pass him on pit road exit last time they were in together. Not the case. The 9.7 second pit stop for Salas, faster than Lopez's 10.2. So there are no significant changes in the playoff cars up towards the front of the field. And you know that this format opens the door for drama, for late race restarts, and it's the non-playoff car drama that's going to give maybe Jordi Lopez another shot at this thing. Looking at a restart next time by. That should have us at 23 laps to go in the round.
all he really needs, Evan, is a good restart. That's what Vicente Salas showed the hand to Jordi Lopez earlier in this race. All you need is a decent launch. You don't even need a great one. You don't even need to be ahead of them before the corner. You just need to be either kind of alongside or in the realm of feinting that move to the bottom or the top. And for Jordi Lopez, now with this caution, he's thinking to himself probably, hey, this is where this move is going to get made, because if this race stays green, I am not going to have a second shot at this, most likely against Vicente Salas. And in this moment, you're kind of thinking, when are they going to go? Are they going to go early in this restart zone? Are they going to find their way later? Jordi Lopez can have a chance at a championship if he makes the right move here. And if we stay green, Salas will lead us back to the restart.
And remember, Salas was a little aggressive when he passed Lopez last time. How does the 89 intend to respond? 23 laps to go from Phoenix, but it's a beautiful restart for Vicente Salas. Give him 2 car lengths, now 3 in the run to turn number 1. Novak to the inside of Lopez. The battles for second. Malik Ray slides all the way to the outside wall. Somehow we stay green.
I don't know how they kept it together. They're just going to be about 4 wide at the exit of the corner. It's good for Minter and Parker White. They'll cut their way through the mid-pack, but Jordi Lopez now has to fend off the 2019 Coke Series champion, Evan, after a phenomenal restart by Salas. He went early in the restart zone, feinted Jordi Lopez off guard. Thankfully, the 89's able to clear and away, now work on Salas, but that was the best case scenario on defense, as now the caution will come out again.
And it's Dylan Duval again. He was just caught up in the accident prior to this one, and he is involved in another accident, and Tyler Gary is involved in it again. So the second straight incident that both Tyler Gary and Dylan Duval are involved in. I'm sure Duval was not happy with the way the last incident collected him, Kenneth. We'll let the tape tell the story. Let's see what happened. I don't think it's a coincidence. It's these 2 cars. Down the back straightaway, it's Duval on the bottom. It's Gary on the outside. This is down to 3. Pretty clearly, Duval not happy. Pushes up, delivers a message to the 69, makes the pass, and then what happens?
Well, they cut through the dog leg. There's a bump right about there when you come back on the apron, but Gary's already pointing his nose to the inside. I don't think he did it on purpose, but again, it's just the really minuscule differences in space, and then that catches Dylan Duval sideways. You said that he's been frustrated with the last 2 incidents. Frankly, I'm just going to claim that he's been frustrated the entire race, just given how the damage got him early, then he fell back on a long green flag run, and now he's just been mired in yellow after yellow. And yeah, he just been so frustrated over the course of tonight. It's hard racing here at Phoenix, but I think Dylan's kind of telling Tyler, don't do it.
So fireworks and emotions are boiling over in this Logitech G Play 120. We talk about all the different ways that our eNASCAR superstars are making an impact in the real world. Well, Garrett Lowe became the first American in 7 years to score a pro podium in the NASCAR Euro Series. Of course, we've been seeing him compete all season long in the same colors here in this series as he drives overseas. It's been a lot of fun to watch what Garrett Lowe's been doing in real world for the BS competition group, both here on the sim and overseas, and not that bad for a sim to reality story.
Definitely not bad. I mean, you gotta love the sim to reality stories, right? Between guys like Vicente Salas, Donovan Strauss, and even here with Garrett Lowe, just getting their chance to demonstrate their skills that go way beyond just sim racing. They're able to put a car at the front, finish well, and that's Garrett Lowe winning the junior race at the Czech Republic track, in which Ryan Vargas said some very good words about it with the experience he's had racing overseas. So great stuff for Garrett Lowe. We've been kind of seeing him all season develop in 2025, but he's been primarily focused on that, and I can't blame him at all. He's definitely gotten great chances, and he's made great use of the opportunity.
Yeah, there's been a lot of really good social content as well from the BS competition group documenting the journey. So something really fun to keep an eye on. We take another look at what the playoff grid looked like. This was entering tonight. Wilson and Novak locked in with wins. It was Parker White and Casey Kerwin in on points, but a lackluster evening so far. For Parker White has him behind the 8 ball, and I think the live points would have Salas jumping up and in, and I think the 24 of Kerwin occupying the 4th and final spot. Well, all of a sudden, we've got a lot of late race drama, and we go back to a single file restart, this time coming to 18 laps to go. Salas, Lopez there to 2 to watch. playoff championship hopefuls, first and second on track. Green flag back in the air.
And Salas did the same thing, Evan, that he did on the last restart. He sees the line in the restart zone. He passes that first line, and he goes almost instantaneously. Jordi Lopez had a better intuition on it, though. He was kind of getting closer to the rear bumper to make way for that restart, but he's not able to get alongside the 11. Now Zach Novak will have to deal from mounting pressure from the rookie right behind in turn 3 for 4th. What a run for Euroshak.
And Connor Urashak has flipped the script in the rookie battle and is having one of his best drives of that young career in the number 4 spot right now, ahead of the likes of Ryan Luza. Haven't talked a lot about him. He's up to the number 5 position. How about Casey Kerwin still hanging out? So is Colin Keister. He needs more, but Keister has driven himself all the way from a 34th position. He is now in a battle for 7th, so still with more spots to gain. He is on a mission.
You come out of a race like this, Evan, and you think yourself, if I have given myself a shot, that is all worth it. Even if I'm not able to get myself into the championship 4, at least I had a chance to do it. And for Keister, he's basically going to put himself in that place should we end up with more favorable situations and more stack-ups after these yellow flags. But then back here is where the desperation is really kicking in. Tucker Minter running on the inside in 13th, Zelensky on the outside in 14th. Those are the 2 playoff drivers going at it. Look how many points they are behind the cut line. They need to go after it right now, and this is not helping their cause with 15 to go.
Yeah, they are not in a good spot, and neither is the next car you jump on board with it. Parker White has just been a high teens car this entire race. And right now, 8 points out, has the most realistic chance to maybe try to make some noise in the points. But again, he either needs to gain 8, he needs the 24 car to lose 8, or some combination.
Oh no, spinner!
Start finish.
Colin Keister is the man around to bring out the yellow with 14 to go, and this Cinderella story may have just had the glass slipper shatter right in front of his face. Colin Keister goes around at the exit of turn 4, and there was contact, minor contact with Donovan Strauss. But Evan, that is a heartbreaker for the driver in his first ever playoff appearance, trying to give himself a shot to win and enter the championship 4. And here's how it happened.
And that's how it ends. Just a side-by-side battle. We've seen that probably couple hundred times tonight for position here and there, and unfortunately for the 15, the 4 appeared to be just a little bit high. Gets into the left rear quarter panel. Again, that's a vulnerable spot on Colin Keister's machine, and Donovan Strauss apologizing and taking responsibility for the incident over the radio. It was still a long shot for that number 15 to Bashida Keister to get in. Again, he likely would have had to driven his way all the way up to win this race, but what an effort tonight for that car starting 34th. He had driven his way to the precipice of the top 5 or so, and unfortunately, that will all but do it for his hopes at advancing to the championship 4. You can add Keister to the list of the likes of Minter, Zelensky, and White, who right now just do not have what they need. And if you want to talk about, what happens here late, you're looking at the battle up front, which is pretty clear-cut. Vicente Salas and Jordi Lopez. Both of these cars, I think, need to win the race the way things are running. I think if you finish P2, if you're either of these guys, you do not advance. Because the 24 of Kerwin, in any scenario tonight, appears to be pretty stable in the number 4 spot, the 1 spot in on points. So there's 2 things to look for here. Salas and Lopez, it appears that only one of them are going to get in. You got to win the race to do it. And if you're Kerwin, the points paying position's the vulnerable one. He was 8 points ahead of Parker White. If I'm the 24, I don't like these restarts, Kenneth, where I got to keep going through the motions and people are going to be putting me 2 and 3 wide. This 24's got a lot of hard decisions to make on do you race aggressive, or if somebody puts you in an uncomfortable spot, do you give up a point or 2 to try to stay safe? Because 7 points is not a big margin. You know the 95 is going to be doing the opposite and driving super aggressive.
And as a driver, if you're Kerwin, you're thinking to yourself, the deeper I get in this field, the worse it's going to get, because more drivers are going to be more desperate in the middle of the pack, like we've seen all season long. I mean, top 15 have been some of the best battles we've seen because they're all just going after one another. That's kind of the trenches of the Coke Series, is that mid-pack position from 15 to about 25th. And so Kerwin, every green flag lap, he's staying in his own zip code. He's got enough bubble room to everyone else. Now it's really not the case. But it's just opening that opportunity maybe for a Zelensky or a Minter or even a Parker White to make good use of the opportunities. It's just with how much chaos we've seen tonight, I don't think you can say, I'm going to gain all these positions in one fell swoop. You're going to have to still work for it, and each passing yellow is going to make you rethink your situations a little more. And overthinking could be a killer, especially in high-pressure situations like this one.
This may be the final restart of the year for some drivers' championship hopes. One way to find out. Going to be 10 laps to go here in the Logitech G Play 120. Tucker Minter up to the number 11 spot. Parker White up to the number 15 spot. They hope that this race has some more late race twists left in it. Salas up front, just so good in the restart zone. Another beautiful start for him. Novak on the inside, almost all the way through and clear of Lopez just for a moment in the battle for second. What a start for the 11 and the 2 car.
Only so much you can do, though, if you're Jordy Lopez, as Novak is near to clear at the exit of turn 2, because if you go any further as Salas goes right at the start of the restart zone, you're going to get a jumping the restart penalty. So Lopez is only doing what he is given. He's still side by side with the lock. Casey Kerwin just hoping that those two in front of them do not touch in the middle of turn 1.
Outside, starting to gain the advantage. Can Jordy Lopez get clear in the battle for second spot off at turn number 2? Yes, he is. So he is now solely in possession of P2. He'll drop down to the inside, seal off the number 2 Machine Novak, but now he has a half a second disadvantage to the race leader. Is 8 laps to go enough time for Jordy Lopez to get up and fight for the race win?
And now is where you put in your best ever laps. Jordy Lopez has trusted his long run car all night long. Now it's about what can you do right here and right now. And the good news is that there's a battle behind him for third, and there's more playoff competitors that are trying to cut through the field. Bobby Zelensky is not out of this race yet. He's in the top 9, so having still plenty of chances for him to get around lots of non-playoff drivers that may not give him that much pressure.
And first time in a long time, that car has been inside of the top 10. So all of these drivers, midfield, desperate, took tires on some of the late trips down pit road. They are taking advantage of all of these late race restarts. Urashak in the 40, now up in the number 3 spot, still trying to track for what could be the best result of this rookie campaign if he can hang on to it. Novak, already a winner, does not need any special result here tonight, but he's in this conversation. He and Kerwin in a battle for 4th.
They're going to be really careful around here. And what I noticed up front, in front of Bobby Zelensky, is the teammate of Parker White and Donovan Strauss. So as long as Parker's going to be back here, Donovan Strauss may have a chance to make Zelensky's life a little bit harder at this portion of the field, just in case. But the yellow will fly with 5 to go, and it's Cody Bias involved. And Evan, that should nearly put us into overtime. Again, late race restart after late race restart in this Logitech G120.
This one's going to look really similar to the caution flag that we had just seen not that long ago that ended up taking a Colin Keister out of this race. And it's going to be that unique turns 3 and 4 where you have to wash up to the outside at the start-finish line, but not everybody always goes to the outside because you got to start turning down the hill to get to the dogleg. It's such a unique spot on track. It doesn't matter if you're 2 wide or if you're 3 wide. Little margins make a big difference, and we'll wait to see the look at what happened with Cody Bias. He was side by side with Taylor Hurst.
And this is just simple understeer rather from the 6 car of Colin Bowden. I mean, it's so fine in the details. Like, I mean, it's hard to see and it's really hard to tell, but you just see Bowden just slip up by maybe half an inch to a full inch off the racetrack. Again, you're on the throttle. The right front is only going to respond to your inputs there, so it's screaming for grip. There's a lot of space with the car down low, but again, Bowden just wants as much advantage off the corner and as much gas pedal in the race car. So then he just catches Cody Bias, and obviously the dog leg, it's a really awkward part of the racetrack, so sliding up that hill, and Bias is nowhere to go.
So that's what will almost certainly extend this race into eNASCAR overtime. Vicente Salas has led over 100 laps tonight. Kenneth, let's see if you can get him on the radio.
All right, Vicente, well, you're in a great spot. You led a bunch of these laps last year to try and pull your way into the championship 4. You've led a majority of them here tonight. What is it going to take on what could be this final restart to have a shot at the championship 4?
We just got to keep doing what we're doing. I feel like we've done a really good job today of, staying cool, calm, composed, collected, So, I mean, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We've been fastest car all day, and we just got to keep showing it.
You've done well on the restart so far, Vicente, but late race restarts are never quite easy to deal with, especially in situations like this. How do you try and level out that pressure and, like you say, stay cool, calm, collected in this kind of situation?
I think, you know, I've been here a few times, especially at this racetrack. I know what it feels like. I know kind of how to approach it. So just got to, like I said, keep doing my job. I'm ready for it.
All right, Vicente, thank you for the time. Best of luck on the restart. That's Vicente Salas, Evan, in the race lead right now, trying to go for his third victory of the season. And what a win it would be, especially after Dover and Chicago, where he went back-to-back and he was the man on fire. This could be probably the most pivotal win, maybe of his career, to get into that final round.
It's the third time Vicente's been in the eNASCAR playoffs. He's done it in 2021, 2024, and here in 2025, he is looking for a first trip to the championship 4 in his career. Can he make it happen right here, right now? It is attempt number 1 of 3 at eNASCAR overtime. Salas, Lopez on the front row, both of them likely needing to win this race to advance onto the finale. Behind them, P6, Kerwin, the leader in the points for the final spot. Can the 24 stay clean for the inside of row number 3? 2 laps to go. Green flag in the air. It's another masterful restart. Salas rockets to the race lead. Urashak through to P2.
Salas trying to shut the door. Euroshak in position for his best ever Coke Series race. Jordi Lopez is deeper than we've ever seen him in the middle of this top 5. Zelensky's middle 3 as they come off turn 2. This could be the only overtime restart we have. Salas to the white flag from Arizona.
3 to 4 wide through a treacherous 3 to 4. Does he get to the white flag? Yes, he does. This race is official. Urashak, the rookie, race high P2. Is there any magic in the Sunoco Chevrolet? A little bit slow as he washes up on the exit at 2. And for Vicente Salas, what will certainly be the biggest win of his eNASCAR career, for the first time, Salas will fight for the championship. Race winner in Phoenix.
And he says to the camera, that's 3. Stop playing with me. Vicente Salas on top of the eNASCAR world again, and had only amassed 1 top 5 since his last win at Chicago Street. That was at Michigan, our first playoff race. And how about it, Evan, to go from leading laps last year to not finishing well enough to get into the championship 4 to putting on an exclamation point on the field, and now will fight for his first ever Coke Series title.
3 wins in a single year, by far the best he has had in his career. And you want to talk about being good when it matters? Race winner of 3 of the last 7 races. The celebration is on in Phoenix. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR, as Vicente Salas wins the Logitech G Play 120 and punches his ticket to his first career championship 4 appearance. Well, let's take a look at your Coca-Cola move of the race. It's going to be the final restart, Kenneth, but it could have been any of the last 6. He was money every time we came to green flag.
You think that with all these late race restarts, Evan, that Salas would maybe try different things, but nope, stick to the mind crusher. Go immediately in the restart zone and set off into the Phoenix sunset. Nothing that Jordi Lopez could do to react accordingly. Connor Euroshak seizes the opportunity to get his best career Coke Series finish and runner-up. That's all Salas needed. As soon as they were side by side for what was 3rd place between Lopez and Kerwin, that's all that really Salas had to see to be able to get off and look only in that front windshield to sail away for the win.
And he never looked back. And not only is it going to be the first time that Vicente Salas will compete for an eNASCAR championship in the Championship 4, but it will be the first appearance in the Championship 4 for Kanan Esports. And indeed, Casey Kerwin not only defended, gained more spots. At the end, he comes home with a 4th place finish in this race and will qualify in on points. So race winners in the round of 10, Wilson, Novak, and Salas. And your points paying spot goes to Casey Kerwin. That is the field of 4 who will fight for an eNASCAR championship on October the 7th.
What I see here, Evan, 3 former champions, and then Vicente, who has been, young and up and coming in this series. He's been wonderful, and he was wonderful tonight. Now he's going to be on the stage at the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2 weeks' time. We're joined by Chente, who's in Phoenix Victory Lane in Sim, and Victory Lane it is. Chente, you can let out that sigh of relief. You mastered the restarts. How important would you say this win is in your Coke Series career to now punch your ticket into the championship 4?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is probably the biggest win of my career on here. Huge shout out to Dave Siltman for basically building this car from scratch. I couldn't do any of this without him. Thank you to Jonathan Flatt, Caden Honeycutt, Houston Hammer, Dylan Duvall, just everybody at Dead Zone Racing that gives me fast cars to go and perform and win with. This is only our 3rd win on the year. I know we could have a lot more, but I'm glad we could come up clutch at the right time to get us one here.
Show to the camera, that's 3 as you were crossing the start-finish line. You're going into this final race at Virtual Homestead, but on the stage in Charlotte at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. You're going to be the only one in this championship 4 who hasn't done that before. How much does that fuel you as maybe the underdog in this championship 4 to go at it and execute for a first title?
Honestly, I feel like we've kind of been considered an underdog my whole time in this series, and we've really worked hard on the mindset and the mentality the last couple of years to get us to this point, because we came up short last year, and I feel like we corrected those wrongs from the past couple of years. And I think now we go in, maybe as an underdog, but realistically, I feel like we're a favorite to win. I mean, we've been so fast at every single racetrack, drove from the back to the top 5 the last 2 races, got wrecked out the last race. So, like I said, thank you to Dead Zone Racing. I feel like we're going to go into this race really confident.
On top right now with a chance at a title in 2 weeks' time. Chente, congratulations on the win. Congrats on making it to the championship 4. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Charlotte. So now we're joined by 4th place finisher Casey Kerwin. But Casey, a top 10, top 5 run all night is more than enough to point you in to the final round for another chance at a championship, this time in 2025. How could you describe those final restarts and all of that mounting pressure of just trying to hope that you would stay in and not get into any of the messes around you?
Yeah, it was really stressful. I joked after that I need to check if I'm balding tomorrow. But yeah, it was, I mean, we had a big gap on Parker. I think, unfortunately for him, he got some damage early. I think was kind of behind the 8 ball the whole night. So I knew he was kind of back there, but I knew once I was enjoying the single file restarts because it just kept us very far apart. But then once we went to double file, at any point with how much we fan out here, there could just be 6 cars take each other out in front of him, and he'd be right back with us. So, thankfully, I almost got killed on one of the restarts. I had to completely roll off the brake into one to not get killed. So that was frightening. And then, thankfully, after that, I had guys around me that took care of me and didn't put me in any bad spots at the end. So, it's just been a really stressful last 5 or 6 races with trying to make the playoffs on point, and then through the playoffs, we should have won Michigan. Late yellows screwed us. Late yellow at Texas screwed us a bit too. So it just been, once we kind of got down to late yellows again, it was just trying to stay positive and not think you were to go again. But thankfully it all worked out, and got another shot at one. So the stress is over. Now we can just go have fun and see what happens in 3 weeks.
You have a shot to try and add another one of those Dale Earnhardt Jr. trophies in your possession. We see one of those in the background from your title in 22. Thank you, Casey, for the time. And that is it, Evan. Those 2 end up in. Salas wins this race outright, an exclamation point. And Casey Kerwin just needed a good run, and a good run is what Casey Kerwin got at the end.
The Salas came in 19 below the cut line and delivered. We take a look at your Coca-Cola full race results. Salas with the race win. Connor Urashak, a career best P2 finish. for the rookie here tonight. Jordi Lopez in third. Casey Kerwin, fourth. Good enough to points his way in. We'll hear from those drivers and more in the Sunoco post-race report a little bit later on. Zach Novak, he was locked in tonight. Didn't matter a ton for him. He ends up fifth. Bobby Zelensky, though, improved late. He needed a little bit more. Unfortunately for that playoff driver, seventh place was not enough to get the job done.
And then behind them in the top 10, how about Dylan All and Garrett Lowe? Great job for them to point into the top 10 at the end. There's Tucker Minter, who had been at the front for a majority of the first half, and then things really changed in that second half. He had to try and dig his way out of a hole, and only 11th is what he can get, but that's not enough to point into the final championship for. Logan Clampett behind in 12th, Seth DeMerchant, Nick Oninger, Femi with top 15s, and then behind them, Parker White with a 16th place finish, a defending winner of this race. Unfortunately, the damage early, he really couldn't get over that for the rest of the night. Michael Cozy Jr., despite starting at the back, maybe could have a chance to stay in the top 20 in points at Homestead, Miami in 2 weeks. And Kwame Scott, dealt with all the issues with Tyler Gary, still ends up with the top 20.
And how about Colin Keister? What a valiant drive from 34th to, I think, 6th or 7th until he was involved in an incident. He will not advance in the next round of these playoffs. Also, Christopher Hill. The battle between he and Connor Urashak for the rookie points title. Hill had the upper hand until he took a 4-tire call. Connor took a 2. The 96 never recovered. He finishes 23rd in this race. I also mentioned Blaze Crawford, somebody to watch for. He's a bubble driver for relegation. P30 tonight does not help him.
Yeah, and then these are all the drivers that found trouble. Dylan Duval, multiple crashes. He's out. Steven Wilson has the punch ticket, but 39th it is after a huge crash on the dog leg. And Timmy Holmes with the last spot in this 40-car field from Phoenix.
It's look top to bottom at your Coca-Cola full race results. And then there was one. We will head to iRacing's virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, the best track on the NASCAR calendar to crown a champion. We're headed back to South Florida, but only figuratively speaking, because we're headed to Uptown Charlotte and the NASCAR Hall of Fame for the live eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship race. It's coming at you in 3 weeks' time. KB, I'm excited for you to experience your first one in person. It's been a nice kind of annual tradition over these last couple of years. It is an event that always delivers. We will have 4 of our eNASCAR superstars with us there in person. One of them is going to be handed a $100,000 check and the Dale Earnhardt Jr. trophy by the end of the night.
The emotions will really run high. I'm going to be excited to be in Charlotte with you guys and the rest of the crew to put this show together. But to be in that situation, especially for the 3 that have been there before, it's a chance to really do great. For Salas, it's a chance to prove a lot of people wrong, but it should be an all-time classic.
And we hope that you join us for that one. Until then, that is it for us here tonight from Phoenix. On behalf of our entire team at iRacing, at NASCAR, everybody behind the scenes on our production, and of course for your broadcast crew tonight. For Camille Salazar-Hadaway, Alan Cavana, and Ryan Vargas on Countdown to Green, and for Kenneth Bueno and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to say thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being with us all season long. Your race winner is Vicente Salas. There is one race left to go. We will crown an eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion in 3 weeks, Tuesday, October 7th, from iRacing's virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. Good night, and we'll see you at the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Sunoco post-race report for the Logitech G Play 120 for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series from Phoenix Raceway, virtual Avondale, Arizona. James Pike alongside Keenan Kusin. Keenan, we have our four. We know who's going the race at the Hall of Fame in Charlotte, and Vicente Salas had to win to get his way in and did just that, put that car in victory lane.
Yeah, Vicente kind of undeniable towards the front tonight, James Pike. Obviously, he had lots of competition. The top five in the finale on the finishing order was basically all red driver names, but Vicente Salas with that little bit of extra oomph to be able to get the win here today and punch his ticket to Charlotte here in a couple weeks' time.
They'll join Steven Wilson and Casey Kerwin and Zach Novak as the four fighting for the title in a few weeks' time. Connor Yarashak for Letard Esports with a career best runner-up. Rookie with a nice job there, especially in the late runs. Jordy Lopez tried to play the strategy to get up front and just didn't quite have the point cap he needed. Casey Kerwin's the one driver that points his way in to the championship contenders. I think that's worth noting. Luza, Zelensky, Strauss, Altlo, Zelensky had all that trouble at the beginning of the race. Big rally to get to 7, but ultimately not enough. His streak of consecutive appearances at the Hall of Fame is broken, but for these four, Wilson, Novak, Salas, and Kerwin, they will be competing for a title. And it's an interesting mix because you got two drivers in Wilson and Kerwin who have been on this stage before, have been at the Hall of Fame, and Novak and Salas who haven't seen this. Novak has a title, but back from 2019 before we were going to the Hall of Fame. So a few, I think, different stories just looking at the sport tech, you know.
Yeah, again, I think the biggest one is two drivers have experience in this live race format. And again, we've talked to Casey and Steven about it a little bit in previous Sunoco post-race reviews of how to deal with that pressure, get used to new equipment. For Zach and for Vicente, brand new experiences for them. You know, they have a lot of experience in this world, and I'm sure that pressure is no stranger to them, but competing in front of a crowd, James, is a whole different ball game.
We talk about how, and especially I think in other esports, you hear the term LAN events. This is effectively what that is going to be for these people, and a lot of discussion, doesn't matter what it is, about how just hearing the crowd in your headphones in addition to everything that you're dealing with on a regular basis. And let's face it, Keenan, these drivers deal with a lot of balls that they juggle when they're behind the wheel just on their own. But you add the pressure and add the fact that you've got tons of eyeballs watching you, and you can't necessarily see them, but they see you, and you know it. That'll be a very different mental dynamic for these four to tackle.
Yeah, of course. And we've got the first of the two that we're going to speak with this evening. Of course, we're going to have our number one seed going into this championship board. That is Steven Wilson, your race record winner for the season, having a career high season. And then Zach Novak, your 2019 champion, going to go for 2 in the number 2 machine.
Two drivers who have been there, who have done that, who have seen the top of the mountain, are looking to get back there. So, Steven, not a night that you would like to remember. This ending a little bit unfortunate with the way things panned out, but was this effectively just sort of a tune-up, and have you been sort of mentally already gearing up? I wouldn't necessarily say almost looking past this race, but looking forward to Homestead because of the work you've done earlier in the season, because you knew you were already going to be there before we even took the green tonight.
I wouldn't say I was looking past it. You know, I'm still trying to get the team championship for Spire, which I kind of let Femi down. But yeah, I got sped on pit road just barely and went to the back. And obviously, when you're in the back, that can happen. So we got killed pretty early, but I got to watch whatever happened on the racetrack between some of those guys. So that was fun for me to at least be locked in and be able to just enjoy not being a part of that show and also just having fun watching it. But yeah, I mean, preparation's already started for Homestead. I've been on that for a while, and I feel pretty good. You know, it's always a track I'm pretty good at, recent history, so I feel good going at it. We're going to have 3 team cars that I'm fighting against, so they'll all be fighting each other at the same time as building together, so it's kind of like a wish-wash of, you know, is it really an advantage or not? But they've always been fast. Those guys have been really quick. It's a top 4 that, you know, it's not really a runaway for anybody, so I think everybody's got a chance, and we'll just hope that Homestead we execute when it comes time.
Zach, you have a title in this series, the 2019 champion of the Coke Series, but that was under vastly different circumstances. We didn't have the Hall of Fame set up. We had a TV broadcast, so there was a little bit of pizzazz to your race at Homestead, Miami, but new package, new car, a lot of differences between now and then. What stands out to you is the biggest difference between your title run in 2019 and what you're about to embark on here in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, it really just the competition, I think, is the biggest thing. The competition, you know, nowadays compared to 2019 is just drastically different. But with that said, you know, we've I feel like proven all year that, you know, we're capable of running up front with this competition and obviously putting ourselves in position to have a chance to win races. So with that said, I mean, you know, it's just all about, you know, one race and putting yourself in the right spot. And I feel like for the most part this year, we've been pretty good about that. And that's going to be our best chance, is just go and execute like we have all year.
Keaton Kushin, I know you always have takes. I'm curious to hear what your takes are, what your questions might be for these two this evening.
I've got two, and both are not from me, first of all. Zach, get comfortable. I'm not going to talk to you for a minute. This one, of course, I don't got me. Here's Motorsport got me. And the question for Steven. You broke Ottinger's single-season win race record. Do you have any other records in your sights to break?
Being the only guy other than Ray to have 2 titles. That's the next goal.
I can't really. I would love to grill you for a short answer, but I can't really word it better than that.
I don't know any other records, to be honest. So
that is true. That's the big one. That's you know, that's something that no one else has been able to do. So this one also good to hear from him again, from Jacob Steelman from Raceface Digital. He's asking for as much experience as you have racing in person at the Hall of Fame. Is knowing that any advantage in racing for the title again?
I would say, yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on usually around you. The whole, not even like during the race, just the whole day is pretty much just packed with stuff and moving pieces and parts and making sure you're all set up on the day of the race. You know, we have the weekend before where we're all going to be set up in the hotel room and kind of testing away. But just the whole day, you know, you have people filing in a couple hours before the race, and then you just kind of have to immediately put that all aside and lock in when it comes time to get in the session, practice, and qualify. So it might be an advantage. You know, obviously Casey's been there too. Casey's won a championship there too, so he's going to feel that as well. And I wouldn't put it past Chet or Zach to really be bothered by that either. I think they'll, you know, Zach's won a championship before, and Chet's as confident as he's ever been. So I don't really think it's going to be a matter of who gets scared under pressure. I just think you got to execute, and I think honestly we could finish 1, 2, 3, 4 and have a great finish like we had last year.
Zach, a question as well from Mr. Seaman for you. What are the emotions of being able to race for a title at the Hall of Fame this time, knowing what it means to the sport and having that stage and platform this time around?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I've been saying, you know, over the last couple of weeks, just how incredibly, you know, fortunate I am to have an opportunity like this. And, you know, I'm really pumped to, you know, go and just really experience it all. Obviously we're there to win, but the experience is something obviously I haven't experienced before. So, you know, just going to be fun to, you know, kind of do something new. And like I said, you know, we're going to give it all we got and try and go win it. So that's obviously the main goal and going to be the icing on the cake if we can do it.
And when you hear Steven and the conviction in his voice on how he wants to be the first person other than 4-time to get a second championship, what kind of fire does that light under you now?
That's been a goal of mine since I won the first one. You know, to be that next guy to kind of take over the throne, so to speak. And obviously we've, you know, struggled over the last few years. That's well documented, but it doesn't really matter if, you know, in this situation, one race wins it all. Doesn't matter how you've raced the last however many years. You got the same shot as everybody else, and I think we got a great shot.
Steven, you mentioned last year the pre-race hotel stuff. Are you going to be staying in the hotel, or are you going to be commuting from your new place?
I'll have a rig set up in the hotel room. To be honest, my plans right now that weekend are pretty busy. With I think NASCAR's gonna be at the Roval, so I'm probably gonna go there. And then my car store boys are at Tri-County that weekend, so I'll be there as well on Saturday. So my weekend's pretty booked before that, but I'll try to get set up on Friday. Come back after the race Sunday and get some last minute work in before they take our stuff and move it in the Hall of Fame. And I just think, you know, I'll be on something that's maybe not exactly the same as what I have here, but, you know, I'm used to going from a desk setup to a rig. the past few years, but now I've already been in a rig all year, so it won't be as big of a change for me, which may be good, maybe not. We'll see. But in last years prior, I've been acclimated pretty quick to the rig that they give us. So yeah, it'll be exciting for sure to just have the opportunity again. It's a really fun event. Lots of people. Hopefully, we get lots of people inspired to come out as well, and hopefully celebrate.
Zach, now that you've had some time, I believe we asked you almost the same thing, but now that you've had some time to get your ducks in a row, how will you be getting down there? What's your pre-race plans like throughout the previous week, the week follow-up? The week leading into the race, words are hard for me. That's why they put me on camera.
I'm not too sure yet. Obviously, this is my first, experience with it all, so I'm not really sure how all the logistics are going to go. As far as I know, obviously knowing what Steven's already said, I'll have something set up in the room, and it's really just going to be all making sure I'm ready for the race day, and that's all I really care about is just being as prepared as I possibly can. And when it comes to the rig, it'll be nice to have something pretty similar to what I'm on already. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And like I said before, man, I'm really pumped for the opportunity and think we have a really good shot.
You flying or driving down there? What's the travel plans like?
Flying. It's like a
Attaboy.
12-hour drive from Connecticut. It's a little too much.
Attaboy. You're going to be doing a lot of driving over the weekend, so you might as well save your hands for when it matters.
That's true, yeah.
Quick one for Steven. I believe you have some mail from Mrs. White, which would be Parker's mom. Just want to make sure you get that before she said something in the Twitch
Shout out
chat.
Trisha.
So she would come to my house and yell at me probably if I didn't pass the message along. But before we let you guys both go, this one's a big one, especially since you both are previous champions. Question of the day, obviously you've both been in the Sunoco post race before. You know the drill. This one's a bit more related to our next race. We'll start with you, Steven. How would you spend your $100,000 if you were to be the 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion?
Well, I already bought a car this year, so that's out of the question. I'd be able to pay off school fully. That'd be nice. But yeah, I was hoping to win the lottery here a couple weeks back. I bought some Powerball tickets, and that didn't work out. So unfortunately, this $100,000 would be quite nice to just pay the bills. It's nothing exciting, but I don't really know anything fun that I would purchase. To be honest, I've been down here in Charlotte for a while and just kind of enjoying it. And I don't know. I kind of have all the big purchases and big moves and things out of the way here the last year or so. So I'm ready to just chill out and save a little bit.
Have you considered $100,000 in Powerball ticket?
If the jackpot's $1 billion again, I'll think about that for sure. Yeah.
Big things here, ladies and gentlemen. Big things. Zach, what about you? It's been a while, so I'm assuming that the bank account could use a little boost.
Yeah. Well, a dream car of mine, so to speak, is a Toyota Camry TRD Pro. So that would be a purchase I would definitely be looking into. With that said, though, I'm gonna learn from some mistakes the first time around, and I'm gonna be a bit better managing it and save it a little better this time around.
That's some wise words to maybe some of those who will be in contention to win their first championship this season. Thank you both. We'll see you at the Hall of Fame, and of course, best of luck.
Thank you, Gox.
Appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Two former champions who have done the business. They're going to look to try and do it again. Looking for second titles in the Coke Series, both of them. Let's turn our attention, though, to another driver of a sort of different variant, Michael P. Frisch, who had a lot of fun out there this evening and happened to be rolling around for 6 car this evening. So, Michael, you've been on this show a few times. How did the challenges of Phoenix, I think, especially in comparison to some of the other track schedule, how did they present themselves this evening?
Oh, it was very, very hard. Honestly, I had to sum it up. It was a mini Bristol. I mean, everyone kind of knew coming into this race was tire wear and making it to that halfway distance. I think that was pretty much everyone's things, because as soon as that right rear was starting to go, I mean, it was going to go. I mean, there was no like holding on to it for 5 laps. It was, you got to kind of have to fit the next lap. So that was kind of what it didn't turn into, thank God. But Phoenix in itself is always difficult. I mean, it's a kind of like a short track but intermediate track at the same time. I mean, you got some high speed corners, and track very kind of like widens out as the run goes on. lanes start to get in with rubber. Kind of, allows you to get to the people's right rear, especially going into turn 3. You can kind of roll once rubber's up there and you kind of have some grip. It allows you to grab people's right rears, make some passes, but it's just really getting to that point. You got to kind of have to get 30 laps on the tires, and really at that point, it's just a single file train that you kind of have to run everyone else's pace.
You had the opportunity to race for Six Karma this week. Just being in the organization for, a little bit, just within this sort of temporary role, what did you learn about them? What did you learn about their efforts in eNASCAR and what that program's up?
Six Karma is a great group. Honestly, they got 2 of my teammates on NFR, and they've talked very good about them. Especially new org trying to get into iRacing, so they're trying to get their name out there. And we're running pretty good tonight until we self-cleared off Bobby Z, and I'm really sorry about that, Bob, but I already told him that. But we were running pretty good up there in the top 20, qualified 20th, but that lap 1 wreck we got ping pong there and had to get some damage fixed. But all in all, I mean, I'm really thankful that they actually gave me the opportunity to let me race, honestly, because I mean, there's so many other talented guys in my book that can just be that much better. But I'm grateful that they picked me and they gave me the opportunity. So shout out to them.
Keenan, are we in a if nobody got me mode?
You caught me mid burp, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. Well, here's the thing, Keenan. If nobody got me, I know I got you. So.
Listen, I just see Michael P. Frisch's face and all those trophies in the background, and it just makes me feel like, I get nervous. He makes eye contact with me. I feel a little fluttered in my stomach. You see what he does there? He knows what he's doing. First of all, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say that. Oh. Sorry, go ahead. It's your floor.
I'm really surprised that I'm up here for a second time, but no, the floor is yours. I am welcome to be here.
I was gonna say, did you just want to come back and talk to us again? Was that the whole thing? Were you just kind of shopping around with an empty can, seeing who needed a fill-in driver?
Maybe trying to get a little prepped up for next year. When it comes around, got a little media trained under me already, so I got that out of the way. But no, honestly, I try to present myself as best as I can here. Me, I've been around on the sim for a while. I mean, my name's not shy of anybody, so. But no, I mean, to race around these guys and all that, I mean, I'm just grateful to be here, man.
We'll throw it to if nobody got me. It's not Heroes Motorsport. It's Trisha Emile White got me. Thank you, Mrs. White. Where are you going to see in contention for next year? What's your plans for 2026? Obviously, there's still a lot up in the air, but I'm sure there's already some preparation being done in your camp.
Oh, yeah, always at North Force. I mean, we're always working. I mean, I'm always helping the guys out, especially getting prepped for the Final Four here at Homestead. We've been hard at work. I mean, a lot of going on behind the scenes that I think don't get talked about a lot, especially with all these teams like Dead Zone and Altus. Those guys, I mean, those are really good setup guys, and they really put a lot of time. I mean, you know how many laps? I'm talking thousands of laps to win that $100,000 because they want it that bad, and you got to be that much better. And it all comes down to that. So, I mean, but going into next year, honestly, looking forward to Road to Pro. I don't know what the format is, but I'll be leading the team over there for the Road to Pro program. So it'd be pretty cool. I might have some guys coming back from Coke. We'll see. But everything's up in the air, as much as I know, for the format. So we're just kind of waiting on that. But other than that, you should see me up in top split next year. So looking forward towards it.
Definitely do not know anything you don't know. They tell me nothing. Yeah. They know I leak like a sieve. Yeah,
once you start training with information, we'll get it out there,
But we'll have to see what happens in the fall with that other league that we run into. Maybe we'll pass some letters back and forth.
I got a couple trophies for them.
But I've got a question of the day for you. This is going to be a bit of a hypothetical, but hey, let's have some fun. What would you do if you were at the Charlotte Hall of Fame, P1, standing on the top of the board? You get a check presented for you for 100,000 big ones. What's the plan, Frisch?
I'm heading out the front door. Everyone can see you later. But no, honestly, I would have to give it somewhat back to my team because, I mean, they brought me here in the first place. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be in that position, right? So you don't get to that position, honestly, without a team. It's not a solo man job. It's not nowadays. I mean, But no, I'd be going to celebrate, probably going to take a little vacation off from work because I'll be heading out from my 9 to 5 tomorrow morning. But other than that, we'll be taking vacation if we do win that $100,000 one day. That's
Well, doors open for you in 2026, and we hope to see you up there. Always a pleasure to have you up here, Michael P. Frisch. We'll catch you next time, whenever that may be.
Thank you, guys. I just want to shout out Six Karma again and Eddie for giving me the opportunity. And obviously, Norris Force for giving me the spot here. But and iRacing, putting the spotlight on me. I appreciate you guys for the interviews, even though I'm just a fill-in driver. But thank you for giving me time.
Michael P. Frisch. Consummate Pro, right, Keaton?
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready for the spot as we have... Oh, I see. The change-up. He was ready. Look, live from the kitchen, it's Vicente Salas, and Casey's here, too.
All right, hold on. Let's start with this. Shunte, you've got 2 different cameras working here. You're in a completely different spot. So what's going on with this? What madness brings you to a second camera here on the Sunoco post-race report?
So, I was just racing, and I did the post-race interview, and blah, blah, blah. I looked above me, taking like a sigh of relief, and I saw like a big, huge cockroach above me. And I personally, I'm okay with certain
He screamed in a different way.
I'm okay with certain insects, but when it comes to a big cockroach, that's like the one thing I really hate out here is cockroaches. I can't do those. So I'm not even messing with it right now. So I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking.
So you're more afraid of cockroaches than you are the competition out on the racetrack, basically.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
Fair. All right. Well, I want to start with you, and I want to go into story time a little bit because I want to say we were Caraway Cars Tour, and this was right before the 4th of July, and we talked about sort of general playoff chances and what your game plan was going to be, knowing that you're going to be part of the 10 by then. And you looked at me and you said something to the effect of, and I might not be quoting this 100% word for word, but it was effectively, bro, I'm winning Phoenix. As if you knew then that this was going to be the outcome. So what is it about this place? Because it's not the first time you've been able to go to the front and dominate here. You've done it a ton in the Contender Series in the past. 2 wins by my account at least, and maybe more than that. And now you've got the Coke Series victory to pair with it. So what about Phoenix just makes this Chente Salas' house?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when it comes to just the driving, the way you attack the track, I know exactly what I want in the car. Every time I go there, I know the way I want it to turn, the way I want it to drive off. Just every single aspect of the car, I know exactly what I want. So when we were able to get that dialed into the car here, I felt like we'd have a really strong piece as long as we qualified good. So, went into qualifying a little conservative. I think we had some more time in it on the lap, but it was still good enough for the pole. So, I don't know. I feel like I love this racetrack. It's been pretty hard to win here in the Coke Series the last couple of years, so I'm glad we could get that one checked off the list. And, like you said, we've won in the Xfinity car here too a couple times. So just a good track for me.
We're gonna let you take a breather here because I know for all the OCD people out there, there are a lot of folks in our chat saying fix your oven clock because it's just blinking. So how about this? You take a second to fix your oven clock, and while you're doing that, Keenan, how about you chat with Casey Kerwood a little bit?
I get once again the honor and privilege of being the host body for Jacob Seelman. So once again, this question coming from Jacob Seelman and Raceface Digital. This one's for Casey. Casey, you wanted to get back into the finale for a couple of years now. How good does it feel to have the chance again? And do you feel as you're prepared, you're as prepared or more so than the first time you won the crown?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've missed out the past 2 years that I've missed it, especially 2023 where we were really good, and I think I missed out on like 1 point because of all the restart chaos like at Phoenix to make it in 23, and then last year just wasn't a great year, and then yeah, it's just been it's been a crazy up and down year. I feel like it's more rewarding to make it this year than the first year, even just because yeah, I feel like we've run really well, and I feel like I've had to get a bit better this year, like with how some of the changes with the driving and stuff. Like I feel like I wasn't like at the top of my game all year like I was in 22, and like I feel like I had to kind of put more work in to get better, and so I just feel like it's a bit more rewarding that I'm there now this year, and I guess more prepared too. Like I just know what to expect a bit more. But yeah, it's It's everyone, like Steven's been there, you know, every year. That'll be new for Zach and Vicente, but they'll have plenty of time to get comfortable with the rigs and stuff. And yeah, I think I was joking with first round talking earlier. I feel like it's probably, you could argue, probably the strongest Final Four in recent years. So it's definitely going to be really tough, but should be fun.
Dante, have you gotten the all clear yet? Has the biohazard team gone in to take care of the problem?
Yeah, so Biohazard has arrived, aka my brother. Thank you for that. So we're taking care of it.
We need a cockroach cam. I got questions for the cockroach.
The professionals are here. You guys can probably see him on camera now walking in.
Oh. This is a Sunoco post-race first, ladies and gentlemen.
This needs like spy music or something here. Like this feels like a secret agent mission of like, you know.
I'm terrified.
Eliminate the threat type style here.
At seek and destroy. That's, you know, I was expecting like about 5 different answers, but that one, I'm really glad that you were honest. That's a lot of respect for that.
While he's got one, Keaton, I got one for you, because if nobody got me,
you know,
you tell him.
He's the hero of the Sunoco post-race report. That is Heroes Motorsport. Chente, what's going through your mind being this is your first championship challenge and you're facing 3 former champions?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this whole year we've really built up to this moment. You know, we had so much momentum through the summer stretch. I mean, we capitalized at Dover and then Chicago, and we were leading at Indy late in the race till that yellow took us out. But, you know, with that momentum kind of gone, we had to find it again, find our rhythm, and I think we definitely found it the last couple races, you know, building up to this race specifically. So, you know, I feel like we've had the speed the last couple years for sure to be in the Final Four, and I'm just glad that regardless of the circumstances, the last couple races, that we were able to get it done.
And again, you would be upset if I did not give him the opportunity. This one again from Raceface Digital's Jacob Thielman. This for you, Chente. You've made your Xfinity Series debut this year with Alpha Prime Racing. You have finally gotten to the Championship 4. What would capping this whole journey with a championship mean for you, given how far you've come professionally just in this year alone?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be huge for us. You know, my guys at Dead Zone Racing have worked super, super hard, and everyone working on the side to keep running in real life. You know, it's really hard to get sponsors to keep that going. So we're still working really hard on that. We've got some great things working for next year still. So it'd kind of just be a cherry on the top of the cake if we could get this one.
Casey, you got a lot of miles here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We've talked to you about this before, but what's the week going to be like now leading into that race? What's the plan for the Kerwin camp?
Just hang out probably. It's a bit different too. I kind of joked, like, you know, last time I was there, it was like 2 weeks leading up, so it was like 2 weeks of really grinding. Whereas with 3 weeks, have a little bit more time to, you know, probably not be too stressed about all the I see stuff getting thrown right now. And
I was gonna say you're being sidelined for La Cucaracha over here. I don't know.
There's stuff going on in Vicente's room. I just see stuff getting thrown. It's distracting. But yeah, it's yeah, it'll be fun. I don't know. It's a bit different with kind of what we do with the rigs and stuff now. Yeah, I think we'll get to the hotel and get used to the rigs and stuff. You know, for a few days prior, so that'll be a little bit different, but it's not like I'm far from home from really being out of the norm. So same with Steven and Vicente now too. So probably the most local Final Four as well that we've had since it's been a thing at the Hall of Fame. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's really any specific plans. Yeah, other than just enjoying it. You know, I think I could speak for everyone. Like, I was there 3 years ago, and it's taken me 3 years to get back. So just gonna enjoy my time. I think also too, like, you know, me, Zach, Steven, and Vicente all know each other really well, so I think it'll be a pretty fun weekend anyway, just hanging out with everyone. So before we all go kill each other that Tuesday night, and then yeah, so it'll just be fun, and yeah, looking forward to experiencing it again.
So Casey, we asked Chente's opinion because he's the new boy, not really, but he's the only one without a championship to his name walking into this. We heard, I don't know if you heard it, where the conviction in Steven's voice to be the first person outside of Ray Alfalo to win 2 eNASCAR championships. Do you have a response to that, and what would it mean to you to be that person?
I mean, I just it'd be awesome if it was me. You know, I think yeah. Another thing pointed out, like normally, I think outside of, I mean, I'm pretty sure outside of just Steven being back there, the few like last year, I don't know if there's really been a chance at a multi-time champion like we have. Like we have a 75% chance at it this year. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool for everyone, especially in this era and how competitive everything is. If you can be the first, two-time champion in that era would be big for anyone. So yeah, it'd be very motivating to go for that. But I don't think it really like changes my mindset going into it too much. But yeah, it'd be cool.
You got a 25% chance, but then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, and your chance of winning drastic go down. That joke was for 3 people, and I hope they laughed. So we asked the other 2 this question. Again, Casey, you'll have a bit more to elaborate on this, and Chente, this will be a brand new feeling for you. Question today to both of you. How would you spend your $100,000 if you were the 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion? Chente, we'll start with you. I'll assume it'll start with an exterminator of some sort.
Well, yeah, probably some type of like bug extermination device. I don't know, some spray or something to get rid of those. But no, I mean, I think realistically, I'd probably put it in the savings, wait for the right opportunity for a nice house, nice little spot on the land. And that's probably what I'd do with it.
Very responsible. We heard some like mixed takes. I know Frisch said he was going to put it all, go to the restaurant or whatever, and then trying to talk. Was it Steven putting it all on Powerball? So Casey, ball's in your court. You got a cool $100,000 in your bank account. What are we doing?
I mean, I didn't really do anything fun with the first one, to be honest with you. So I don't think I have a fun answer for this one either. So. I ain't gonna worry about it until it happens, Other than that, I'll just do the best I can and prepare to have the best shot at it.
Outside of plane tickets to Long Beach, that's got to be part of it, right, Casey?
Yeah. That's, I guess since then I've done that 3 times. Went to Sonoma. Yeah, I guess outside of just the trips to places, that was really the only fun time. But everyone who knows me personally, I'm extremely cheap. So those were all on tight budgets anyway, just because I'm very cheap. And yeah, so but yeah, we'll see.
Maybe take the team out for some chicken tenders together. Maybe some wings if you're feeling zesty. Some boneless wings. You look like a boneless wing guy.
No, I like bone-in. I like flat. Oh. Yeah, flat for crack. Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised. What kind of sauce are we talking about?
So.
There's a bag now. Is that where the body is?
They took the cockroach out in the bag. Yeah, I don't really. When I say plain wings, I don't mean like plain, like no flavor. I just mean like marinated plain, if that makes sense. At all. Like I don't like sauce on wings, but like
with like a seasoned rubby type,
right?
Nothing like
crazy.
Yeah. Like a ranch or like a parm garlic or. Like
I don't even know
like
I'd say probably just like a mild type of flavor, like seasoning.
Like a dry buffalo type deal.
Yeah, maybe it's similar to that. I don't know. Like I would say probably along those lines. Yeah.
But dry rub wings is and call me crazy Keenan, but that's what I'm hearing in particular.
I was half expecting to say he dips them in ketchup, to be honest. That would be a very Casey Kerwin answer.
Wow. I might be a 4-year-old with the amount of ketchup that I do consume, but not with steak or with chicken wings. So
unfortunately, you have a brand, Casey. I'm really sorry, but you did this to yourself. Maybe some au jus or some like chicken jambon or something. Throw us for a curve for some next time.
Don't even know what that is. So
exactly, it's my point. And I'm glad to see the biohazard has been removed. Sent to where you're going to have to go down.
We're so back. You're
going to have to take a trip to Micro Center and build a whole new sim rig.
I was about to say, if you didn't get rid of the cockroach, were you just going to have to get like a whole new rig?
I was going to move out of here and leave everything in this apartment. Yes.
Final question. If you were to do that, is that check behind you cashable? I'm asking for a friend.
I don't know. We could find out.
All right, booking a ticket to California. I don't know where you live, but I'm willing to knock on some doors, James.
Nah, you take it to the bank in Carolina. Just walk into the lobby and be like, I got to check the cash in, guys. Even sign it on the back, everything, Exactly. Well, welcome to the weird, wonderful, wild, and absurd. All things that we will probably see our championship for get into. But for Ganado Esports, Cynthia Salas, and the Kansas City Pioneers, Casey Kerwin, big thanks. Also, a little nugget on Kerwin. This will be the second year in a row that KC Pioneers have a representative in championship board. So big for them. But here are the final 4 drivers that will be competing for a title. Steven Wilson chasing title number 2 and win number 8 of 2025, which if he can win Homestead Miami, that would set a brand new all-time season record outright, and it'd be crazy to see how that goes if that pops off.
Wouldn't that be apropos, right, of the season where he's already gotten so many records, kind of been his season? If he were to cap it off not only with his second championship, he gets that record now, or gets to put his name in that record book, but just another tally to add on to the list, James.
Zach Novak, I think, if my chicken scratch math is correct, would create the, I guess, shall we say, largest gap between 2 titles, but a sort of continued, sustained period of excellence, which I think has really come to the fore this year, just with the consistency. You think of Zach's season in particular, he's been good every single place we go, just about.
Yeah, not to take anything away from those 6 who didn't make the dance, but I think all 4 have had stories to be here. Wilson and Salas have had very successful seasons. Salas specifically, the races he's won, he's been dominant or up towards the front the whole time. And then Novak and Kerwin, consistency. Obviously, Novak's got that win, but Kerwin getting in on points as well. And you have to wonder if there's going to be some work together behind the scenes there. You got 2 Chevys, 2 Toyotas, obviously some other teams behind the scenes, but 4 different teams, James, represented in this championship 4.
That's a good point, too. If you're looking at Chente Salas' case in particular, I think it's about the next step up. This is his best season statistically by a good margin, career high in wins, which he adds to tonight, and getting that Coke Series title would just be another step, another rung on the ladder for him if the Temecula, California native could get it done for everybody at Ganado Esports.
And we will find out who will be hoisting that $100,000 check Tuesday, October 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Crucible, the Coliseum will be the Homestead Miami Speedway. But, James, we will be live from the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte.
As always, what a fantastic experience that we get to have here. The best of the best in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competing. Casey Kerwin also looking to become the first driver to win 2 finales at the NASCAR Hall of Fame at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Championship setup is a little bit different. They were Phoenix when he won his title, but here we are, Homestead, ready to play host to another title fight in 4 drivers who have a very good case and have pretty good track records at a place like Homestead as well. So plenty of reasons to expect that we should see high stakes, high drama, and in the end, we are guaranteed to see one of the 4 lift the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Cup. That coming your way October 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern, a special edition of Countdown to Green that's going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern coming your way on the iRacing Twitch channel, the eNASCAR Twitch channel, and all other places, and a lot to come on October 7th, Tuesday. That's today for the finale from Homestead. For everybody involved with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series broadcast, for Camille Salazar Hadaway, Ryan Vargas, Alan Cavana, our special guest Anthony Alfredo on the Countdown to Green show, for Evan Pushoko and Kenneth Bueno on the race broadcast, and then for my partner in crime on the Sunoco post-race report, Keena Kusin, I am James Pike. Congratulations to Chente Salas for winning here at Phoenix. He claims the Logitech G Play 120. He slots himself into the final 4 contenders for a title. He will be racing along with Novak and Kerwin and Wilson for a title at Homestead. Who wins the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Cup? We'll find out on October 7th. See you there.